hard, they hate it, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball, I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic gotta say, I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life, I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot, wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this, go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play the same. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger. Hey, please don't play no games with me, I promise I'm too much. Hey, I can never let up even if you had enough. Hey, this ain't for the faint of heart, we always playing rough. I had enough, it ain't luck. I needed a vision, I needed ambition, I needed a mission to be in submission with no intermission. I see the collision, the crash and the distance ain't coming off track, no. Now when they ask what's the motive, don't talk about the show. They all about to see what I mean in the moment. I gotta keep going, I'm shaking the dice and I'm keeping it rolling. They already know. Ain't got no other plans, you don't need to understand, ayy. We on overtime, you don't need to understand, ayy. You just show them how to do it when you don't know what to say. Tell me how you plan to win if you plan to play it. Moving fast, already gone, yeah, but you bringing me back. Try to double cross me, dog, just let me relax. Stop assuming what we doing. Keep it moving, what we doing. Cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger, cause it can get bigger.
Yeah. What's goody? Yeah, I'm getting everything together right now. Salute to everybody in the building. Let's clap it up one more game. A lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about today, man. The politics of this sport that we love, man. So many things are moving around. It's a literal war going on in boxing, man. And every single week, almost every other day, things are happening in the space. We got so much to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. As you're stepping into the building, hit the like button. For sure, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. So much to talk about, man. On the back end of a decent weekend of boxing, right? The light heavyweight division on fire. We're going to talk about that for sure. We got to talk about the light heavyweight division for sure. We got to talk about Richardson Hitchens vacating his IBF title today and what the ramifications for that is. 147. The 147-pound division at Zuffa Boxing is coming together slowly but surely. We're going to talk about all these intangibles and talk about the possibilities of what maybe we all can look forward to seeing in the upcoming future of Zuffa Boxing and this new hybrid. If you guys caught my video, if you didn't, go catch the video on this hybrid takeover where Zuffa Boxing aiming at signing these fighters. Conor Benn just signed for a 5-fight, 2.5-year deal at 147 pounds in the midst of being deep, potentially, negotiations with Ryan Garcia. This one for Ryan Garcia's WBC title. What will Ryan Garcia do? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about David Benavidez, of course. His week is coming up. Cinco de Mayo will be here next weekend as David Benavidez campaigns. Tries to deliver a performance that will gather up the fans in the space. And will David Benavidez be the new face of Cinco de Mayo, the new face of Mexican boxing, the new face of potentially American boxing, or in the conversation? This amidst so much going on, the traditional space of boxing, looking for a hero. I need a hero. Right? We got all that to talk about for sure. What's going on with Devin Haney? We've all been waiting. We've all been paying attention to what's going on in the space with Devin Haney. It looks like he's back in the doghouse, being frozen out of opportunities to fight for big money. Turkey Al-Sheikh doesn't seem to be as dialed in as making these working with certain fighters, the way he was working with them back in the day. And it just has me asking questions, because you would think by now you'd hear about Devin Haney having something lined up. The last thing we heard from Devin Haney, he was being offered a deal with no guaranteed money, splitting 50-50 back-end money with Rolly Romero after $6 million, which I guess would be the covered cost to put the event on, was covered. Doesn't seem like a superstar, a superstar reward prize, right? Seems like something else. Seems like the PBC wasn't betting on Devin Haney making as much money, or wanted Devin Haney put his own money where his mouth was. So where does he go if he's not going to get the big bag from Top Rank, if he's not going to get it from PBC, if Eddie Hearn isn't going to give him the big money, if Eddie Hearn isn't going to help him line up Lewis Crocker, if Oscar De La Hoya isn't going to help him line up Ryan Garcia, if Ryan Garcia has other options he's looking at, if he's looking at a potential Conor Benn fight, if Rolly Romero isn't offering him much, then what does Devin Haney do? Where does Devin Haney go? Where does Devin Haney land in a boxing space that's not embracing him for the accomplished champion that he is? Shout out to my brother, Angelo Reyes, because, he's always stood on his square on this Zuffa boxing topic. You know how he carries it. And always talking about the potential for these superstars, these bigger names over on the traditional side, the traditional space of boxing, potentially coming over to Zuffa boxing, finding opportunity with Dana White, right? Is that where Devin Haney is going? And whether he's going there or not at this point in the game, you guys let me know in the chat. Is that where he should be going? Should Devin Haney be considering Zuffa boxing? And would it be the worst thing in the world for him to be in Zuffa boxing at this point in his career where he's at? Guys, we're going to go back a little bit and talk about Devin Haney and his journey up until this point. We can go from the Ryan Garcia fight up until this point where we are right now, whether it's Ryan and taking a quote-unquote loss to Ryan Garcia, even amidst the performance enhancement drugs positive test that came out. The space never really quite held Ryan Garcia accountable to the point to where they're taking the win away. So Ryan Garcia is impressed to make the fight happen. Pressure being on Devin Haney if he wants to make that fight happen, to make it happen. We can go into the Jose Ramirez performance where Turki Al-Sheikh talks about Tom and Jerry. And we thought it was maybe aimed at Shakur Stevenson, or maybe it was aimed at Canelo Alvarez and William Skull. Who was he talking about? And on the back end of that performance with Brian Norman Jr., a performance where a lot of us, including myself, right, questioned what Devin Haney would do in that fight, because we all wondered if he was suffering from the PTSD of what happened between him and Ryan Garcia. Well, he put on a somewhat spectacular performance against Brian Norman Jr. And I say somewhat, take it tongue-in-cheek or with a grain of salt, because he won the fight and dominated the fight. But once again, that old version of Devin Haney crept back into the space after round 3 or 4 when Devin Haney slowed it down and got back on his boxing, and Brian Norman Jr. didn't make it any easier, collapse in the pocket, constantly smothering his own work, jumping into shots, jumping into, stopping the action, and just didn't deliver that kind of performance that I think a lot of people wanted to see him. But more importantly was Turki looking for the bigger performance. And if he didn't get it, why has it seemed gotten real quiet between Turki Al-Sheikh and Devin Haney's team as far as what we can see? For all we know, they're having conversations, but nothing around the fight being built that we can tell. So what makes more sense for Devin Haney at this point? On the back end of watching Conor Benn receive $15 million, you heard me, $15 million to fight Regis Prograis? I don't know. Did he get $15 million for that? I don't know, right? We're not in their bank account, but whatever it was, has that inspired DHP Promotions, Devin Haney, Bill Haney, to potentially consider being in negotiations with Dana White to see if they can put something together? I mean, 147 pounds at Zuffa Boxing, Richardson Hitchens over there, potentially Teofimo Lopez maybe showing up over there. We don't know. We don't know what the future is right now, because what we thought it always was isn't what it necessarily is, as Dana White has moved in a certain way with Zuffa Boxing that I think most of us didn't think he would do, as far as the way he's dealing with the sanctioning bodies, as far as his openingness to allow his fighters to sign fighters who are already in bed with the sanctioning bodies, some of them champions already, others still pursuing sanctioning body championships, and he still seems to find a place for them. And they, whatever their agreement is, whatever understanding they have, they sign that contract believing still in their heart when you hear them in their interviews talking about how they still have aspirations of going after these belts. So we got to take a step back and take a look at that for what it is. Brian Norman Jr. did an interview on Inside the Ring as well. We'll talk about that a little bit as he talks about his return into the space, adjustments, accountability, things that I love to see in fighters. Brian Norman Jr. showing all those things. We'll talk about that. The adjustments, taking his father out of the head coach position, replacing him with Ronnie Shields, a way more tried, true, proven trainer in Ronnie Shields, who's worked with an assortment of fighters, champions nonetheless, right? What kind of benefits are Brian Norman Jr. going to find in that situation? And what are we looking forward to seeing Brian Norman Jr. show us in the upcoming fight he has against Josh Wagner, I want to say. Josh Wagner. I know Wagner's last name. I might have messed up his first name. Apologies if I did. You know, it is what it is. Shout out to everybody in the building. Let me take a moment to salute to you guys. Jesho Shem Wagner in the Jesho Shem Wagner in the building. Salute to you, family. What's good with you, man? No problem in the building. Zoo, yeah, that's what they keep calling me, man. Roger that in the building says, Clay, what's good, fam? Moon Man says, what's good, man? Let's go. Great shoe incoming Mexican monster season. He hunting. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about David Benavidez for sure, man, and what's actually happening with David, what we're looking forward to see from David, and what is David's whole point of doing this Zurdo Ramirez fight. A lot of people are pushing back at the fight, amazingly enough, including my co-host Angelo. A lot of people pushing back at this fight with Zurdo. I'm not necessarily in the same boat. I have my reasons. We'll talk about it on what David is doing, what we can expect from him, and what am I expecting out of him in this fight with Zurdo Ramirez. Roger that says Najee versus Whittaker would be a good fight. Yeah, that is a fight. I think on paper that fight makes sense, but we're going to talk about Ben Whittaker today for sure, because what does Eddie believe about Ben Whittaker, and is Eddie ready to put his money where his mouth is? Because this, without a doubt, on the back end of losing Conor Ben, Eddie's going to be a little protective, I would think, of Ben Whittaker. But what does that protection look like? Because I know with Jaron Boots Ennis, for example, I don't think Eddie protects Jaron Boots Ennis from any fight. Like, I believe if Jaron Boots Ennis wants to fight, Eddie believes 9 out of 10 times he's expecting his guy to win. What does Eddie Hearn think about Ben Whittaker? And he's going to have to show and prove it in his actions, not just in his talk, right? Can do our fight. Or Candor fight. Salute to you, man. I think I just saw you at TBV, man. Welcome to the channel. Hope you subscribe. Says David or Zurdo going to be the face of boxing. Ooh, I don't know. Maybe. I don't think so. I ain't going to lie. Well, maybe David, but I don't know about no Zurdo. I don't know about no Zurdo. I ain't going to lie to you. We'll talk about it, man. Shout out to Candor. Says Haney can't get a fight because he's too boring. Oh, Lord child, Lord child. Fredo for life in the building says give Whittaker somebody like Zach Parker. Okay, it's not the elite, but it's a step up. Ben is about to be 29. He has to get a move on, especially when athleticism is a big part of his game. Man, Fredo for life, man. Salute to you. That was a fucking statement right there. I love every part of what you said right there. So let's just give it a breakdown. Give Whittaker somebody like Zach Parker. Guys, you saw Zach Parker potentially arguably got robbed against Joshua Buatsi. A lot of people thought he took that win right there. A great disciplined boxer, right? Somebody who's going to be fundamentally sound against a Ben Whittaker. I think that would be a great fight for Ben Whittaker. He's not elite, right? But it is a step up 100%. Ben is about to be 29. That's the biggest part of Ben Whittaker right now is his age. I think people haven't acknowledged how old Ben Whittaker really is in real time, right? Like Ben Whittaker is not a 21-year-old like a Moses Atama or Abdullah Mason or, Jared Anderson. I mean, those guys, they're not all 21, but young guys. Ben Whittaker, maybe it's time for him to step up without a doubt, man. He's about to be 30 years old. After putting on performances like he did this weekend, you definitely want to see him in a step up. But what kind of step up do you want to see him in? Is Zach Parker just one more step up that you be comfortable with, or does he need to go directly in some bigger conversations? Keep in mind, David Morrell was screaming out his name for the event this weekend and wanted to go ahead and test Ben Whittaker's resilience and his grit, right? Says he has to get a move on, especially when athleticism is part of the game. Yeah, man, age takes away the athleticism. If it was power, we'd have a little bit more patience, right? Shout out to Flexing and Stepping in the building. What's good with you, man? Say, what's up, player? Literary Farrell in the building. Salute. Literary Farrell, what's good? Ain't seen you in a minute, man. Good to see you. Hope you are in good health and good spirits, man. We got a lot of boxing to talk about today. Alberto 99-620 says, Clay, the Zuffa belt will take decades to be recognized as a belt. Maybe the IBO is still not a household name, and it was established in 1988. Yeah, quite possibly. And I think people need to take that into consideration as far as what does Dana White picture for Zuffa? Does he want Zuffa belt to be a sanctioned belt? Does he want Zuffa? I was talking to Ness today, and we were talking about that Zuffa belt and why the IBF got upset with Zuffa as far as Zuffa wanting to be recognized as a sanctioned body belt and wanted it to be perceived as a unification happening between a Zuffa belt and the IBF belt. And I don't know, man. I don't agree. I don't think that's what the move is. I think Zuffa as a league will always have a championship belt, but I think just the idea of not even recognizing the other belts kind of, for me, spoke towards Dana White's position as far as Zuffa being a sanctioned and body belt recognized in the world. He didn't want to be in that conversation. He was never trying to be in that, but I think Dana's having to process real-time data, and the real-time data is that fighters respect those belts and fighters want those belts. And if you want the biggest fighters in the world, you got to kind of figure out how to cater to them. And I think part of it is going to be, let's build this bridge with these sanctioning bodies. It is what it is, right? So I don't think it's that important that Zuffa gets recognized as a sanctioning body belt. I think the most important thing about Zuffa boxing, guys, is the development of the fighters. It's the activity of the fighters. Is that they'll be producing fighters that are better fighters, the best fighters in the world, champions. But where will they get their real respect from? They'll get most of their respect for the champions they beat, for the WBC, the IBF, the WBO, the WBA champions, the unified champions, that these contenders coming out of Zuffa boxing will be fighting that will legitimize them, not necessarily walking around being Zuffa boxing champions. Now, when those same guys who are beating those WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO champions, WBA champions are holding Zuffa belts, well, maybe that starts to represent, who the best in the world is a Zuffa fighter, not just whatever the fighter's name, right? Maybe. But I think we might all, I say be patient. Let's watch everything develop, because I got a feeling everybody going to get a little something what they want, but I think it's not going to be everything that they thought it was going to be. It's going to be a little more for some people, a little less for other people. But at the end of the day, I see Zuffa here for the long run. You know what I'm saying? Welcome down, Van Hout in the building. What's good? What's good? Hit the like button, people. Yeah, for sure. Definitely do that. Lil Ray Fast says Nakatani versus Inoue. Yeah, we got to talk about that for sure as well, man. Me and Angela were talking about that yesterday. So funny. We were talking about that yesterday. Oh, maybe, yeah, it was yesterday. Talking about yesterday and how interesting that fight is. More interesting than most people think. Nakatani coming off of a bit of a struggle in his last fight, but a struggle that, in my opinion, could build you as well, not just kill you, right? It is what it is. Roger that says Haney capping. Oh, man. Bill said it was a good deal. Yeah, I know. Everybody holding them to whatever they agreed upon that time. Kaisu 953 in the building says Ben Whittaker versus Jesse Hart, June 27th. I'm hearing rumors that could possibly be the fight. If it is, I think that's also a good test for Ben Whittaker, man. Moonman says Devin isn't no money, man. He's just a fighter. Maybe. I don't know, man. I can't even argue about it. Leroy Farrell says Haney's delusional lacks self-awareness. Wow. After being dribbled off the canvas by Ryan, things have never looked good for him. His performance after Ryan has been lackluster at best. Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, the Brian Norman performance was his best performance. But yeah, man, we're going to talk about it. Alberto 996020 says, Clay, how is Devin being frozen out when he is the one that doesn't want to sign a long-term fight deal with the promoter? He ain't profitable like Canelo to be free agent each fight. I like it, man. I understand what you're saying, but I'll say this to you, Alberto. If he doesn't want to sign a long-term fight deal, promoters aren't going to want to work with Devin Haney, with the idea that Devin Haney is the boss, that I'm going to take this one fight from you, get my money, and bounce out. I'm never going to sign to you. No promoter with any type of real sense about themselves who understand what the risk is in pushing a fighter is just going to do that. They're not freezing him out like they don't want to work with him. They're freezing him out where they know what he wants in order for them to work with him, and none of them seem to be willing to bend that knee. And in essence, that's freezing him out, right? That's not the promoters have something against Devin Haney. It's just that people aren't bought into the idea of him being this big star, the idea of him, being worth this one fight, and they're not subscribing to that idea, right? Shout out to Round One in the building. What's good with you, man? Roger that in the building. Flexing stepping. Let me see. See you go down here. See if I miss anybody here. Lance Meyer in the building. Salute, Lance. What's good? Chone 08889 in the building, man. Says, big man, what's up? What's up with you, man? See, I think that's it, man. It is what it is. So, look, guys, before we go any further, I'm going to bring up that guy. You know who it is. I'm going to bring him up. I'm going to bring him up right now. Hold on. Let me set it up right. Let go, let go, let go. My God, Gil Reyes in the...
Good morrow, sir. Good morrow.
Good morrow.
I got a few bones to pick with you, but I'm gonna hold it to just start with the positivities of the world. Again, happy day to everyone. I know some of you guys on the chat was waiting for the appearance of the one you love to hate or hate to love, or however it is that you guys want to look at it. Today, Clay, man, I want to do a shout out to you on your birthday weekend. So if you guys don't know, this man's a year older, a little older, to my left, no, to my right, over here. And my brother's birthday's today. So I want to give a shout out to my little brother Mike. And because April is Donate Life Month, and as you know, Clay, just yesterday I was giving a speech out about the importance of organ donation and how we celebrate it in April. That's why you guys see me wearing the green Raiders hat. That man, dude. I don't know. I'm sure you're a family man too, but I don't know how many of you guys have friends or family that love you so much they're willing to drop everything to be there for you. And that's what my brother did for me when they said, "Hey, you're gonna die in 30 days," and then the whole recovery process. He literally dropped everything. Was there at the hospital with me for 4 months, bro. So if you're blessed enough in this world to be loved like that, Clay, then maybe you are doing something right. So shout out and happy birthday to my brother, Mike. I'm sure he's having a great time over there in SoCal right now doing something. And then I don't know how you do it, Clay. This guy, guys, I don't know how he does it because I know he had this crazy shift. And then I'm like just I'm taking my medicine, I'm trying to get my day going. So then I check Ness's channel just because sometimes this guy's on it. And I'm like, this mother. Did you sleep, man?
No, I have not. I'm literally
bro. Like this is crazy.
No,
I was talking to this guy till like 3 a.m. my time, which is 6 a.m. his time. I think Ness's show starts hella early, and then he's on it. I'm like, bro, have you slept or are you on a 24-hour run, dude? What is going on with you?
I don't think it's 24, but I definitely, when I get off of here, going to get some sleep because I definitely got to catch up on some sleep. But nah, man, I've been running. You know what it was? I just wasn't tired, man. And you know what I hate doing? Laying there and not being able to sleep. I feel like I'm just not being productive. Like I'm just sitting there forcing myself laying there, and I really just don't end up sleeping. And I'm just like, I don't know if I was just wired yesterday. I got some sleep. Kind of, I don't know. I'm just weird, man. Working these graveyard shifts, bro. Just your body sometimes just doesn't go until it's ready to go, bro. It's like you can't.
Right. It's hard, probably bro. that lively conversation we had. If maybe. You guys would have been on our 4-hour conversation, it'd have been one of the best podcasts you guys would have heard.
That's what I was saying, right? I was like, was it last night? I'm like, yeah, it was like, whatever.
It was. We were up. You were doing your shift. But so right off the bat, I like your title, Clay. I like the title. I like the title of today's show. I understand, but you know what I'm upset about? And there's only one of you in the chat that I've noticed so far that mentioned it. So shout out to you, literally.
The Inoue Nakatani.
That's the best fight in 2026, bro. Man, just because we live in America does not mean if you're a real boxing fan, you should be literally hating on the best boxing match of 2026. In fact, let me tell you something right now, right? Do you know how good this match is, chat? On April 1st, they sold 55,000 tickets. Mike Tyson didn't sell that when he fought Buster Douglas at the Tokyo Dome. All right? This is the fight. Their documentaries right now are going nuts on YouTube. Like one of the Inoue videos where they're just showing them do mitts or something. In like 3 days, Clay got 700,000 views, bro. 700,000. All right, like this fight is huge, bro. You got the pound for pound number 2, who, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 18 months, I've been saying that he really is the pound for pound number 1 versus the pound for pound number 6. Bro, doesn't get any bigger. This is why everybody's, in fact, it's so big, Claymore. It's so big. They're selling pay-per-views in Japan, bro. So they're selling tickets to the weigh-in. So I'm just, again, I'm not gonna mess with you. I'm not that mad because I know we're about to do a Read the Ring episode on.
We got all types of things we're gonna do. Plus, I'm tired, bro. So I put it out. Did I put it in the description?
No, you left it out, bro. You got Whittaker.
Listen,
Benavidez. Benavidez.
You see this, right? You see this thumbnail? Does this look like I even put any real effort into it? Bro,
yeah,
I wasn't even thinking about it. But listen, man, that fight is an interesting fight without a doubt. We had a great conversation about it earlier, and I would try to tell people on Nakatani's last fight. Who was it that Nakatani fought last? Who did he fight?
It was Sebastian. Remember Sebastian Hernandez,
right?
And then you were like, "Oh, damn, this is kind of hard," but we know what it really is, bro.
Right. Listen, I said because I know that was like Inoue's sparring partner back in the day or something like that. And a lot of people took that and said, "Oh man," most people, as a matter of fact, was like, "That guy right there ain't beating Monster Inoue." And I kept telling you and telling other people at the same time. I said, "Bro, that's the kind of fight that gets a person dialed in and ready for a Monster Inoue. You guys just ain't reading the room or reading the ring properly." Think about Terrence Crawford and Israel Madrimov. Think about how challenging that fight was for Terrence Crawford, and people try to use that fight as the reason why he shouldn't even get in the ring. That guy ain't beating Canelo. That guy's the reason why he's about to beat Canelo Alvarez. That guy is the reason why he's going to dial in, lock into this camp in a way he never did before, because he's going to be like, damn, bro. He's going to be honest with himself. The real champions, the great champions, do that. Am I bugging, Angel? Like the great champions go to fights like that, go home while everybody's celebrating. I'm like, man, you got the win. That's what's up. And they go, yeah, bro. Nah, yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm moving to camp. I'm not even gonna be anywhere near you motherfuckers. I don't need no yes men. That shit right there ain't gonna cut it. I'm about to be in the biggest fight of my life, respectfully. I appreciate all the love y'all giving me, but I gotta get away from y'all. Because if y'all think that what was up, I don't need to hear none of that, bro. I'm not happy with it. Take my belt. Here's my, whatever it is. Put that up. I'm not even a champion. I don't give a fuck about everything I did up until the only thing I care about is that performance that I did right there. And I think you're going to see a Nakatani who's going to dial in that way. And I think that makes the fight that much more interesting. I'm still leaning towards Inoue to win this fight, but I just think as far as what it takes to make a great fight, the dance partner, idea of this, I think we're in for a shootout, man. I wouldn't be shocked to see Monster Inoue sitting on his pockets once or twice in this fight. You never know.
Yep. No, and that's the thing, guys. And by the way, shout out to Severe Raider. Guys, check out his YouTube. He's joining us today. I'm so happy you're here, bro. You know how many times I have to tell this guy Usyk is not number one? He's not. Just on activity alone, he's not the number one best. So the whole heavyweight thing, man, that ain't it. That ain't it. Secondly, to your point, Clay, when we're talking about this, first of all, happy birthday to Naoya Inoue. He just turned 33, right? He's fighting a guy in Junto Nakatani who in January just turned 28. This is literally, right? Like, how we talk about Xander Zayas versus Boots Ennis, and they're fighting in their early primes. Well, these are guys fighting in they're seasoned now. They're in their primes. It's 32-0 versus 32-0, Clay. It's 27 knockouts versus 24 knockouts. It's undefeated versus undefeated. It doesn't get bigger. And you guys are right. Inoue has been sat down. Last year in the Tokyo Dome when he fought Luis Neri, he got sat down. But what did he do? Knock dude out the ropes. That's what he did, right? What Inoue do to these ungrateful American fans who still don't talk about him? You ungrateful American fans. He saved Cinco de Mayo weekend last year because Canelo had that boring ass event with William Skull, and Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney did us dirty while Clay was there at Madison Square Garden. And what does Inoue do? Saves the day, saves the weekend, fights here at T-Mobile Arena, has a war with Cardenas. But yes, guys, Cardenas sat him down. But then what Inoue do? came back and knocked his ass out, bro. He's like the Undertaker, man. Can't kill Inoue. So now,
but Angelo, listen, man, power is the last thing that goes, and we know Monster Inoue brings the power. But athleticism, all these things, slow down a little bit, just a little bit. And with somebody like Nakatani, a little bit might be all he needs. He don't need the whole thing. He don't need you to be completely off your game. He just needs a window. He just needs an opportunity. One thing Nakatani isn't scared to do and doesn't have any issues doing is pulling the trigger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so if there's an opportunity there, he's going to be there to be like, that's me. I'm taking that.
No, like here's the whole thing about, and again, we'll break it down more on the Read the Ring series when we talk about this. But yes, when we're analyzing the Junto Nakatani side of it all, people are missing the very thing you're talking about. The narrative is going, this is the reason why I think he's almost plus 400 right now. They're looking at the Sebastian Hernandez-Reyes fight, and they're thinking the same way they were thinking about Terrence Crawford. He didn't look good against Madrimal, bro. Oh no, he's going to be handled. Listen, man, the kid is 5'7", almost 5'8". He's now had a full year to acclimate to what 122 will be. He, like you said, he moved his camp. He was like, you know what? I need to be isolated. Went to Japan, did his thing, bro, got acclimated, and he's the B-side, dude. The last time he was the B-side, which is crazy to me, was in June of last year. This guy was fighting Nishida for the Ring Magazine Lineal Championship, right? He busted that dude's eye up, like, badly. So I feel like where Nakatani really excels is in that southpaw stance. He's tall, but not like Fundura, bro. Like, he's tall like that at 118, 122, but he really knows how to fight on the inside. And I know it's going to sound like Sebastian Fundura hate, bro, but I'm telling you, until Sebastian Fundura can show me that he can be defensively sound on the inside, Nakatani, when you get him on the inside, everybody thinks, hey, if you get Nakatani in the inside, that's how you can beat him. Honestly, you saw the Hernandez fight. Hernandez was hitting him, but really, he was still pretty good defensively sound. And that was the first time he moved up to 122. So I think it's a 50-50. I agree with you. We know that Inoue can get clipped. The difference is, guys, look back at Andrew Maloney knockout. Right. Andrew Maloney, Junto Nakatani, Las Vegas on the undercard of Devin Haney versus Lomachenko. Yes, it was that long ago, 2023. But that knockout was so severe, it was like a gunshot when he hit dude, bow, and knocked him out on his feet. And the way Maloney fell, and everybody thought Maloney was dead, bro. Nakatani got that kind of power. And Inoue Nakatani, bro, it's explosive, man. I'm so excited for that fight.
Nakatani in this fight is going to have some poise about him, some patience about him, but he's not going to want it to be so much patience that he's not pulling the trigger. He wants to be himself in this fight, but he is definitely fighting somebody in a Monster Inoue who can make him pay. The consequences are very high on the opposite side of a mistake or being, exposing himself in a way because he's being offensive. Now, I think it's going to be interesting to see Nakatani, how he deals with it, because when he got in the ring with Hernandez, the power just didn't translate for him, right? The way he's used to it. And Inoue is going to be even more acclimated to the division and is the undisputed champion in that division. So how's Nakatani's confidence going to be behind what he used to be able to count on? Didn't necessarily deliver for him against Hernandez, but if he changes his stripes too much, he might be a complete different fighter in that ring, and that may be his undoing, right? Just being not himself, being uncharacteristic of himself. Whereas Monster Inoue is comfortable. He's been a champion in the division. He's been doing his thing there for a minute. He knows his power translate. His power translated 118, and he's proven at 122 to be able to get the job done. Now, he didn't stop Picasso, right? It went to a full, it went to decision, but I don't think Monster Inoue is the type of person necessarily be like, oh, my power's not there. Nakatani's still the smaller guy going into this ring. He's still the guy who's not proven at 122, but he's going to have to get that respect in there, or Monster Inoue is going to steamroll him, bro, right?
Right. I mean, and again, when Clay says Nakatani's the smaller guy, he's talking about the fact that it's Nakatani that's had to move
right.
Up
he's taller and everything like that.
112 to 115 to 118. And again, man, look, I'm not. You know me, Clay. You know how when you and I were having this long conversation, I don't even want to get into this back and forth with the chat about how amazing Nakatani and Inoue is, because y'all don't know, right? For you guys who they don't bring Inoue to America, go ahead and go look at his record and see how many times he's already fought here in Las Vegas. They've been bringing them to America. You guys just don't want to pay attention. That's what it is, man. It's the same kind of feeling I used to get when Manny Pacquiao was already popular to us, to the Filipinos. But then you guys didn't even really get to start knowing about him until he went into HBO, and then they were messing up his name. And, that's all right. It's all good. It's all good, baby. It's all love. But if Inoue, just like you and I agreed on, if Inoue beats Nakatani, no question, Severe, pound for pound number one. There will be no one that will argue that he's no longer pound for pound number one. How many more pound for pound fighters does this guy have to beat in order to actually be recognized as the very best? And this is the only person currently fighting right now that has already matched Joe Louis's world title defenses championship fight records. He's already fought in 27 world championship fights. This guy, Naoya Inoue, has been fighting in world championships since his 6th professional fight. So you know how earlier you were saying, maybe it's time for Whittaker to step it up?
Right.
Bro, Whittaker just got to his 11th fight. Inoue won his first world title in his 6th fight. Stop it, y'all. Stop it. You're looking at 2 pound for pounds. We're gonna do a read the ring, and I bet you it's gonna get a lot of people to listen to it because it's tracking, man. In a way, if you guys look at Chris Algieri, Canobio did one video in a way, and Nakatani, bro, I got hella people listening to that. So yeah. But anyways, I know you got the slate that you didn't include.
No, definitely got the slate. Definitely got the slate. But I think
right.
this fight is going to be an epic fight, and I think it's a fight that people, forget about everything else you thought. This is one where you just got to take our word on it if you don't believe it, or no matter what you want to believe about Nakatani, and whether you think he's going to get outclassed or you just don't think he belongs in there. These guys are going to throw down. It's in their home country in Japan. It means everything, and they're going to show up and show out. So that being said, you went to Ben Whittaker. Ben Whittaker has his performance this weekend, dominates. What's the guy's name again? Suarez. What was his first name?
Yeah, Brian, however you want to pronounce it, bro.
Suarez, man, dominates, man. And this is what I wanted to see from Ben Whittaker, right? I think the perfect opponent for him to do that with, that Argentinian style, coming through forward, hands high, trying to put the pressure on you. Just perfect opportunity for Ben Whittaker to really show that poise, the way he was putting the punches together very early. He stepped directly to Suarez in this fight and got him out of there. Put the body campaign in there, work behind that jab. He was doubling up. At one point, I remember he hit him like 3 times, like doubled up on 3 left hooks to the body, just feinted up and pop, 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 pop. I was like, Lord child. And, obviously ends him with the big overhand right that caught him right behind the ear. And it's just where the punch lands, right? Because he turned his head.
Yeah, it was right. It was clean, bro.
It was right. He hit him right here. On this side. It was right here. Right. Matter of fact, it was like right here.
Hey, look, man. It looked clean to me.
Hey, no, I think it was clean. I think at the end of the day, bro, he was shooting the hook. He was going backwards. But if you're gonna turn your head that way, and he caught him over the hand with a nice sharp short right hook, man, and just put him out, man. But he showed those levels of the game. And when you see a fighter starting to do what 2 knockouts in the first round, like what he's done, without a doubt, the space is going to be like, we want to step up. We want Ben Whittaker to step it up. But the question is, where do we step him up to? Andy Lee at the end of the fight says he thinks he could beat everybody in the light heavyweight division, but they want to take their time with this guy. He's a superstar. He has the swag. He has the looks. He's a pretty boy. You know what I'm saying? He came out with the back streets, back, all right. Driving the crowd crazy, right? Driving the whole crowd crazy. And he puts on a performance like that, but they want to see him step up. Rumor has it that we might be seeing him here in New York on that Xander Zayas, Jaron Boots Ennis undercard. So it is what it is, right? We've been talking about this guy for a long time. It's the eye test when it comes to Ben Whittaker, but at some point in time, it's barbecue or mildew time, and it looks like it's that time for Ben Whittaker. It looks like the space is demanding it.
Go ahead and do the super chat because I want
to address HLD that. In the building says Whittaker will never be ready for the real wolves of the division. Ooh, feed him already before we create another 30-year-old hype job, aka Philly can crusher. Oh man, he's throwing shots at Jaron Boots Ennis.
Okay,
shout out to my guy HLD in the building.
And I'm glad you read it, Clay, because again, this is where lack of information really can get people. Severe, you're on the chat. You know I've been talking about Whittaker for at least 2 years to the regular public, especially the Raider Nation. And I've been saying to everybody, listen to me and listen to me well. This guy is the guy. He's almost 6'4". Really, when he was an amateur, he was making closer to the 160, 168 ranges, right? Goes into the pros at 175 pounds. He signs with Boxer. He's with Ben Shalom. And honestly, where everybody starts hating him, Clay, is the gimmicks, right? Where he's playing with his food.
People don't like it. They feel like that there's
right.
no longevity in that. But go ahead.
Okay, no, hold on. No, but here's my point. It's almost like you guys all forgot that this dude was dominating in the amateurs. And oh, by the way, he already beat people like Kataev, who's in the Ring magazine top 10 right now. The guy that David Morrell really lost to, HLD. So let's not even lie about that. Well, guess what? If you watch Ben Whittaker fighting Kataev, easy money, baby. That's why Eddie will never let Kataev fight Ben Whittaker, because Ben Whittaker would smoke him today, bro. And that's the guy that made David Morrell suffer on July last year. All right. So when you look back in his amateurs and you see how good he is, when he was fighting for the gold medal, bro, for that Tokyo Olympics, he was fighting against Arlen Lopez. Arlen Lopez is still a prospect right now. And you guys are trying to push this kid. But hold on. Let me give you guys the coup de grace, because a lot of you keep sitting there going, no, man, it's time to push him. Really? Because was it time to push Usyk? When Usyk started, Clay, he was 26 years old, okay? He didn't get his first world championship shot until he was 29 years old. So now let me give you guys some facts so that you actually know what you'll talk about. Ben Whittaker started when he was 25 years old in the pros. He's currently 28 years old. He's not even 29 yet. All right? So when he turns 29, if he gets the world title shot, which is what Eddie is saying he's going to do, Clay, he's going to get a title shot in 2027. That's the plan. The plan is Barclays Center, back to Birmingham, UK against Anthony Yard or Joshua Buatsi or Willie Hutchinson or any of the top 10 guys in the Ring magazine. And then after that, he's going for the world title. If he does that exact trajectory, Claymore, you're looking at a guy who's doing exactly what Usyk did. So what's the problem? What's the hate? I don't get it. What's the hate? Why y'all
I don't think it's hate. I think you taking it as hate. I think it's expectations. It's you're playing with your. Whenever you see a fighter playing with their food like that to a degree, you know what it means? That he doesn't belong in the ring with those guys. Those guys aren't helping him get better. Nobody's even keeping him fundamentally honest. You know what I'm saying? To where he's having a good time. Now, shout out to Liam Cameron, who put a fire under his ass and then finally dialed him in enough to where not only did he calm down and have to look at himself as a fighter, but also made the adjustments, brought Andy Lee into the camp, right? Shout out to Terrence Bud Crawford, this era's pound for pound best fighter of this whole entire era, who talked to Ben Whittaker and let him know, brother, you are nice. We see it. We see what everybody sees. But you know what? You play with your food too much, bro. But I'm optimistic about Ben Whittaker, man. I think he's reading from the right book. He's subscribing to the right channels. He's listening to the right information. He got real champions like Terrence Crawford in his ear. But at the end of the day, this is the boxing game, baby. We from the show me state. And until you show us that you can be disciplined and that you can do it at the highest level in the game, we still going to be on the out looking in. And listen, man, against Liam Cameron, that little flipping over the road thing, you could have your own personal opinion about it. But a lot of people are reading it for emotionally undisciplined, dealing with adversity. He didn't like what was going on. He participated. He maybe was injured. Maybe he wasn't as injured. But look, it is what it is. He got faced with some real adversity, but he's on a win. He's on a tear right now. But it's time. It's time for him to be tested. Ray, what's good with you, brother?
What's going on, man? Talk about my favorite Whittaker, second to Pinnell, man. Absolutely. I like what both of you guys have actually brought to the table. I have to agree with you on this one, Clay, a little bit more. I think we are creatures of habits, and your favorite slogan. I think he has grown out of that to a degree. I think he has focused more on boxing after that melee he had when he got pushed or leaned out the ring, however you want to call it. But he had the redemption to that, right? I would say, like, he made up for it. And he took boxing seriously at that time. But it seems like the creature of habit thing is coming back. It seems like when he gets a comfortable setting, he seems that he can go into the art of comedy or just having fun, which is nothing wrong with having fun if you're getting paid to do it. But at the same time, this is a sport where respect is made. You're in a ring with another fighter. I think some of those things rub people the wrong way, especially as a professional fighter, and you're just levels above people. You have fans that look at it in a sense of what is going on. Is this guy really that good, or is that guy really that bad he's fighting? So it just comes to questioning his artistry in the ring. Ben Whittaker is a solid guy. It is time for him to get in the ring and challenge himself. It is time for him to get out there and push the pedal to the metal, as they say, and strike hard while the iron's hot, right? So, yes, let Ben Whittaker get in these tough fights. Let's get him in a championship run. And salute to you guys. You know what? I'm sorry I missed you guys. Hold on.
Yeah, I know, man. I was gonna say,
hold on. I gotta come out here. Let me. I'm sorry. Let me back that up. Let me get a clap. Let me get a clap. I'm sorry. I've been tied up. I got a game today. It's all games this week, man. But I was like, man, I can steal some time. Let me get on here with my brothers and rap with them. Yeah, it's just listen. Ben Whittaker is. I think he is the goods, but I just think he's just he just has a cartoonish. Accolade about him, but I think he's good.
I think the thing about Ben is if Ben falls, the game is going to step on his neck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Absolutely.
When you carry it that way, and there's people, even I think I heard Breadman talking about it a little bit earlier today, and Breadman was just like he always gets nervous about those fighters. He said, I always get nervous with the showboaters because the showboaters, they look good when they look good, but when they fall, they don't get no help from the boxing fans to get back up. They got to do it on their own because the boxing fans was like, that's what you get for that fucking bullshit you was doing. And
especially today's boxing fan.
Yeah.
Right? But you know what, Ray? Even in the past, bro, that was the whole Naseem Hamed thing. Right. And everybody loved it. I was there live to watch that. The Barrera Hamed, everybody that was there watching it was like, yeah, Barrera, you beat the bully. But was Hamed really a bully, bro? Because all Hamed really did is give us a hell of a fight with
he was a showman.
He was just a showman, right? Now allow me in the great words of Samuel L. Jackson, gentlemen, allow me to retort on Ben Whittaker just so that I can please ask you to come back to this side of the table, because I understand where Ray Davis is coming from too, because he is a Whittaker fan, like the two of us too, Clay. So at what point are you guys going to forget? Not you two. I'm talking about the chat and everybody's listening. At what point are you guys going to just forgive Ben Whittaker? All right. When the Liam Cameron fight happened, it was October of 2024. I just want to make sure I'm giving you the actual facts. That was October 2024. All right. Boo-hoo. He was on a wheelchair, whatever. What does he do, though, Clay? What does he do? He humbles himself. Goes to Ireland, bro, where everybody knows your name, because there's nobody in that village other than maybe 1,000 people. Trains with Andy Lee. Now, again, let's talk about redemption now. He doesn't fight a bum on his next comeback fight. He fights Liam Cameron, bro. The same ranked Liam Cameron, y'all. And what does he do? He doesn't play with his food. He sits on his punches like Andy Lee told him to. Works that jab, stoppage, second round, boom. But all right, hey, man, I get it. You guys can't just forgive him for that one. So what does he do next? He goes and gets a knockout of the year candidate last year against Gavazi that people still want to hate on. That's cool, though. I get it. All right, y'all want to hate on that? No problem. But did he play with his food there, Ray? No, he did not.
No, he did not.
Sat on his punches, stayed disciplined, thank Jesus Christ. It was extremely humble the whole way and just kept thanking
Great
Andy
fight.
Lee. And right, he's just doing. Now we're a full year out. It's
He
been
even
a
cried in the
year.
post-press
Yeah, I
fight.
was gonna say it's a
He
great
even
fight.
cried.
He did.
Yes,
He did his
exactly.
thing.
Right. Okay. Now it's been a whole year, y'all. It's been a year that this guy's been humble. It's been a year that this guy isolates himself in Ireland. He shouts out Ireland, right? He shouts out the people that are around him. He's thanking the Lord first, right? And what does he do? He gets a first-round knockout against a guy who knocked down Lyndon Arthur, and it took Lyndon Arthur to hell just to get that win, right?
Hey,
The same Lyndon Arthur who fought Dimitri Bivol. And
fought
I'll
on
end it with
Anthony
this, Ray Davis, so that the guy that Bivol's about to fight this on May 30th, Michael Eifert, bro, go watch the tape. Because the IBF is diabolical for even allowing a 13-win, one-loss guy who has not fought since 2024 to be the #1 mandatory to Dimitri Bivol. Bro, do you know what Ben Whittaker would do to Michael Eifert, bro? Ben Whittaker would fucking destroy that guy. And that guy's the #1 mandatory? What are we doing, guys?
Angelo,
Angelo,
I hear everything you're saying, brother. You know what I mean? And listen, man, we're in a cruel world, man. This world ain't for the weak. You gotta be strong. You gotta be tougher. And this boxing community, this boxing space, it's not that easy to fool them. You gotta show and prove. When you do what you just did against Liam Cameron, you flip over the rope like it's a WWE match. You say your neck hurt, your back hurt, your foot hurt, your toe hurt, and we're looking in the replay and we don't see where nothing happened at. And then you get taken out the ring in a wheelchair. I mean, Lord have mercy. What extent will you go to tell us fans that something happened? But let me tell you something, man. 3 rounds ain't enough, brother. 3 rounds ain't going to do it, because no matter what he did, you know what he did? He had 1 round with Benjamin Gavazi and he had 1 round with Brian Suarez, bro. And he had 2 rounds with Liam Cameron. So 4 rounds. It ain't enough, man. And you know why it ain't enough? Because he ain't been really tested yet. So we're glad we can see the potential. We see who Ben Whittaker can be, who he probably is, because it's the eye test that we're using. But the fans, we've seen the eye testing before. We've seen it. We've done this. We've been down the road before. We've seen the eye test deliver to us what we thought we had, and then they jump into the ring with the right guy, and it turns out that it wasn't enough fights. We jumped the gun and we made the decision too soon. So this boxing community is saying, after what you did with Liam Cameron, it shows a little bit of weakness. A little bit, when it comes down to show some grit, you chose to bow out. You didn't stay down too long on a 10 count. You got out the ring in a wheelchair. But you did come back and you had that redemption against Liam Cameron. But there's nobody's above the law. And the law is we from the show me state. And you got to show us. So the next fight at this point should be a fight that shows and proves that on the biggest stage.
I agree. And I'm liking what you're saying, Clay, because this what made, and I'm glad you blew up Prince Nassim, because this is actually what made me a believer, right? We're looking at the guy, Kevin Kelly, who was supposed to go fight Floyd Mayweather, was supposed to be the guy to beat Floyd Mayweather, get stopped, get rocked, get beat by the showman and Nassim Hamed, right? And it was a great beatdown, believe it or not. It was just crazy. But let's put it into current tense. What Clay said is it has some damn relevance. It's crazy. Like he's making good points here. No rounds, when you're not fighting rounds and you're getting these guys up out of there, that's experience. You know, that's longevity. That keeps you, that lets us know that you can box. As much, I would say, Angelo, and this is not towards you directly, this is just saying to answer some of the things that Clay was saying, is that we look at these fighters that stop these guys and don't go the distance and don't know how to put in the work and don't know how to box and drag a fight out to discipline, I would like to say very so eloquently as Stephen A. Smith would drop that, their opponents and show them what they got in a fight, how their gas tank works. We need to know, right? We've seen it a few times with Ben Whittaker, but have we seen it enough? Has it been often enough? These are the questions that we have to bring to the table in the forefront that say that if this guy's just going around here playing with his food and he's just getting these guys up out of here and he's making them look like they're not even on his level, then we got 2 things happening. either he's that good or he's going to sink or swim, right? When it comes to those long distance rounds.
When it comes to the adversity, right? When it comes to the pushback, how does he react to it and how they deal with it?
That's what we need to know. So,
okay.
I'm with it though.
No. But I've been, again, all I like to do, Clay, and this is how I like to throw it out, is I just want to put out facts so that everybody knows factually when you want to, like criticize your food. Ray Davis is a foodie. I just want to make sure that you knew exactly what market that fish came from, right? Where that grass-fed beef might have come from, okay? So when people say, well, this guy needs rounds, did you know? I mean, I know you know. I'm saying to the people listening to us, did you know that prior to that Leon Cameron fight where everybody's all upset, he did a 10-round fight against Aguiarco for the IBF International title. And here's the best part of that, Clay. When people go, man, he's not moving fast enough. How much more faster you want the guy to move? That was his 8th fight fighting for
nobody's
international
saying he's not moving fast enough, Angelo. They're saying it's time for him to step up. They're not saying he's not moving fast enough, because when you're watching somebody do what he's doing, you don't want to continue to see him in fights with people you don't even believe are going to beat him. It is time. That's why Eddie Hearn spoke to it. That's why Andy Lee said, I think he's ready for the biggest fights. The fans want it. It's time. You got to build off the momentum. Unless, and this is what the next part of this conversation is going to be about, right? Which is Eddie Hearn. That's what this is all about. This is about Eddie Hearn and what he sees in Ben Whittaker. It's one thing for you to see it, Angelo, for me to see it, for Ray to see it, for the fans to see it. But what does Eddie Hearn see in Ben Whittaker? And I don't want to hear it come out of his mouth what he sees. I want to see him show it to us inside the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Put him in there with somebody. Take a risk with this guy. If you protect him too much, it's going to make us think the same thing that I'm going to say we saw you do with Diego Pacheco. Right? As people were celebrating Diego Pacheco and saying that Diego Pacheco was ready. 2 times he had an opportunity to become a champion, fight the Christian M. Billy for an interim WBC title, or fight Hamza Shiraz, and he backed out of both of them. What happened with him there, Eddie? You said you believed in him. You said he was a future, but that's not what your actions showed. So this conversation really is about Eddie Hearn, because Ben Whittaker believes he's ready. His trainer believes he's ready. Angelo Reyes believes he's ready. I think he's ready. I believe Ray Davis thinks he's ready. But if Eddie don't think he's ready, then we ain't going to get no motion. And I think that's what this is all about.
Can I ask you guys a question, Ray? Like, you might actually, Ray, you're probably going to go to the fight at Barclays Center. I know Clay's working on going to the fight.
I thought you told me I was getting in the ring. You see me, right?
No.
Okay, all right.
But Barclays Center, June 27th. Is it fair for someone like me to let you all know, clearly a Ben Whittaker supporter, that if the opponent,
international boxing supporter,
right,
correct,
right, that if the opponent, gentlemen, for June 27th as a co-main event happens to be the wrongfully robbed from January here in Vegas, Jesse Hart, that would be a great test. That would be a great test.
I don't think so.
It could be a great test.
I think that's an easy fight.
But it could also not. It could also be what Ray said. You know why? Because we thought Anthony Yardy was going to be a test for David Benavidez, and he shit the fucking bed, bro. Yeah. He didn't fucking give us what we needed. So it's all about whether. But I'll tell you what, it's a move in the right direction.
Right.
Make it happen in New York. Let's see him. Let's see. Jesse's going to be there to fight him. He ain't going to run. He's going to step to him. He's going to hold. He's going to hold down the center of that ring. So let's get it done. But don't be shocked. If it happens too quick, we might still need more, Angelo. We might still need more.
I just want to make sure that I have you guys on record, that understanding that if Jesse Hart, who I've been hearing from the people that I know, are telling me, here's the thing, Eddie Hearn doesn't really like what Khalil Coe did. He was overweight by like 10 pounds or something diabolical like that. And honestly, bro, I kind of wanted to give that fight to Jesse Hart too. In January, I thought he did enough, but whatever's whatever, right? Khalil Coe got away with it again, but now Eddie's not going to give Khalil Coe a co-main event against Ben Whittaker. That ain't happening. So I feel like it'll be Jesse Hart. So as long as you guys are okay with Jesse Hart as a step-up test, I'm cool with it. Now, if he happens to, and I don't think he will, I don't think Jesse Hart's going to go away that easily, like you're saying, right? But let's say he does. Let's say, then can we start having the conversation of maybe isn't that Ben Whittaker isn't fighting nobodies. Maybe it's just he's making them look like nobodies. And you know who else said that?
No, we're not
hear
doing
you. I hear you.
No, we're not doing that because it doesn't make, just because he does Jesse Hart bad doesn't mean those other guys are good. Listen, man, the thing about it is you're right, Ray is right. Well, the thing you're right about is that at the end of the day, bro, Ben Whittaker is a great fighter. And at 11 fights into his professional career, it's okay. He doesn't have to go Mount Kilimanjaro and go fight, you know what I'm saying, Mumra at the type of Mount Kilimanjaro, you know what I'm saying? And show the world that he's the goods, right? Like it doesn't have to be all that. But the reality is some fans are taking their time. Because why? Because he's moving around, he's showboating, he's talking shit, and it's just instinctively here in America, when you talk shit, a lot of people go, It's just like the guy you walk into prison or something and you're talking shit, walking through the prison. You know, motherfuckers want to test you and be like, hey, this dude, whose mans is this? Yo, whose mans is this? Does somebody know this dude? Somebody give me a resume, a report card, because he's walking around here crazy, bro. Hey, yo,
white shirt off, bro. Put his shirt back on.
We'll find out who homie is, right? So at the end of the day, Ben Whittaker is talk this shit, and he just has to deliver on it, one fight at a time. But Jesse Hart, I think he checks the boxes for me. Yeah, what do you think, Ray?
Okay. I definitely think that's a good step in the right direction. Absolutely. I just think that when we're looking at Ben Whittaker, we have to remember, one, he's an Olympian, right? So Olympians, to me, I think when you're an Olympian, I don't think that resume so much matters. I think we could take 3 or 4 years off your resume or fights off your resume and start you at a 15-0, 16-0 fighter and have you campaign for certain accolades in the ring, rather it be championships or interim belts. I think that puts you in that perspective, because the Olympian status is 4 years off your amateur and pro background anyway, because that's an in-betweener. The fact that this guy, Ben Whittaker, is just so talented, I would like to see him with a Jesse Hart. I would like to see him in the right direction, but I need him really just to get out the way of the and I don't want to use this in the sense of disrespect, the Euro bashing circuit. I think he needs to get overseas. I think he needs to see some other styles, and even if it is so much Europe, at least go over to the eastern part where you get different looks, because I think him fighting the same type of fighters is not really doing him justice, and it allows him to do certain things. I mean, we know that the nullification of Mexican fighter is definitely the boxers out of Europe, out of England, in that area. We know that, right? We've seen a lot of these guys get pummeled and rashed, as they would say over there, right? So let's see him come over. Let's see him fight in stateside. Let's see him fight some of the premier guys. He doesn't have to go all the way to the top. You know, he could just fight, anybody. Unfortunately, half the guys that we like are at Zuffa, no disrespect, that I would like to see him in the ring. I would like to see him in the ring with,
That's
right?
True, bro.
Listen, It's so crazy to say that, but I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? I'm like,
That's
damn.
true.
But, for what he has, Jesse Hart is a solid opponent. And I like that call out.
Okay. So, can I ask you guys this then? Just again, because you know that he's a silver medalist, right?
Right.
Just like Shakur Stevenson, bro.
Right.
Silver medalist, just like Keyshawn Davis, right? And you know how we love Keyshawn. And Keyshawn talks a lot of shit, Clay. He talks a lot, and we still love Keyshawn. So I'm just trying to ask you guys to give, not you two, but the people listening to the show, I want you to give Whittaker some grace the same way you're giving Keyshawn Davis some grace, man. Give him a little grace. All right. Give him a little grace.
We can't preach for him, bro. We can't. We just got to give him the grace, bro. Listen, it's all fair, bro. He talks shit. The shit talkers, this is what they get, bro. This is what you get when you talk shit, man. He got to earn it, man. Listen, he's not. I'm trying to see if he's top 10 in any of these.
No. What I was going to say, though, is, Ray, check this out. So you're okay with Jesse Hart. Clay's okay with Jesse Hart. Beats Jesse Hart. What has been told, what Eddie has promised, is the next fight after June 27th, he's bringing him back to Birmingham, UK, main event. And the opponents that he's saying is the current number 5 guy, number 4, sorry. The current number 4 Ring Magazine guy, which is Anthony Yard. Let's start with that one first. let's say, hey man, he's ranked number 4. The ranking is the ranking, right? I didn't do it. It is what it is. The Anthony Yard you just saw fight David Benavidez. Be honest with me, Ray. What you just saw out of Ben Whittaker.
Throw me in the mix, man. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, man. Do you think that when Ben Whittaker beats the hell out of Anthony Yard, he's gonna get the same credit? Or are people gonna sit there and say
he'll get the credit because he's 11-0, but they got to be careful. And once again, it comes back to Eddie Hearn, bro. It's about Eddie, because the thing about this game is there's no going backwards. Diego Pacheco tried to do it, and he ended up freezing himself out the fucking game, right? Because he got to a certain point to where all that was left was Hamza, Christian and Billy, Canelo, big fights. And he's clearly not comfortable making those fights. So the question is, you made him take these fights against the Steve Nelsons and all these different fighters.
Right.
Was he ready? Did you guys believe he was ready? He didn't prove whatever he needed to prove to you. Eddie's watching him in the ring with a what's my guy's name? The Christian and Billy 2.0. Sajo.
What the hell? Kevin Lele Sajo. We watched it
right?
together. Yeah.
I didn't know the last name.
They don't like it. They saw him in there. They're like, I don't like it. I don't like it. He got in there with Steve Nelson. They go, I know he won, but I don't like it. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They say, well, damn it, bro. Come on, man. What you want us to give you, bro? Look, we're going to give you the guy that Caleb Plant knocked out. Yeah, I've seen that one too, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. You know what I'm saying? So the thing with Ben is, okay, step it up. Go to Anthony Yardy. After you beat Anthony Yardy, where do you go from there? At 11 fights, because that's what this is all about, man. It's about the movement of these fighters. It's about how you move them. And in 11 professional fights into his career, where does Eddie Hearn see him at? I mean, I'm just going to land it there because time will tell. We have no way of really telling what it's going to be. We got to see what Eddie does. Because like I said earlier, if you ask Ben, I'm sure he's ready for whoever. Outside of a David Benavidez, he's probably like, give me that. And probably would take Benavidez too as well, right? But he's just like, I want to be patient with my career. I know I'm a superstar, but I want to be patient. I want to take the right fights at the right time. I want to become a champion. I want to do all of the above. But patience is a virtue, and what Eddie thinks is going to make a big deal here. Shout out to my brother HLD with another $5. Appreciate the support, man. Says Reyes just love flashy, gimmicky fighters, aka Philly can crushers.
Damn, bro.
He's talking about he killing boots. Now he thinks another Jesse Hart. He thinks another Jesse Hart is the guy to solidify the hype. The hype and to feed him to Morrell. He said,
here you go with your boy David Morrell, bro.
Listen, that's my guy right there, right?
I'm gonna land it like this because we got a slate we got to get through. I am gonna tell
what
you
up,
guys
knockout?
What up, KO?
Salute, KO. What's good with you, man? Long time no see. Say he's 20 years old and an Olympic silver medalist with over 10 professional fights. If Ben ain't ready now, he never will be ready, man.
I agree with that.
Right.
I agree with that.
Look. I'm gonna land my plane like this, right? First of all, to you, HLD, shout out to thank you for the color in the chat. We appreciate you. Your boy David Morrell better focus on Caleb Smith because I'm not too sure he could beat that guy. I'm just saying. He didn't really
That's a good fight.
Kataev. Hold on. Let me finish and land this. He didn't really beat Kataev in July. Everybody knows it. All right. Kataev was food for Ben Whittaker, bro. Food. All right. Go watch the tape. Wasn't even close. All right.
Right.
So don't talk to me about Ben Whittaker.
He struggled with Hot Rod too. He struggled with Hot Rod too.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Don't talk to me about Morrell. Morrell better focus on Caleb Smith. But I got a surprise for you, HLD. I got a surprise.
Oh, shit.
Because the winner of Morrell versus Caleb Smith, according to Gustavo, will be the WBO actual champion, not emailed or nothing like that. Because Bivol is going to fight this weak dude, Michael Eifert, to keep his IBF, and then he's going to fight Beterbiev, right? So that means the real WBO champs either going to be Caleb Smith or Dave Morrell, and I pick one. It doesn't matter because that's how Ben Whittaker is going to get his first world title. He's beaten one of those fools, and it doesn't matter who. Secondly, and you know what? That's fair, KO. Clay, to your question, sir. Currently, right now, according to the rankings, we have at the IBF level, Ben Whittaker is number 5. At the WBC level, he's ranked number 3, right? This is why they're talking about him fighting Joshua Buatsi. I already told you guys that he would destroy Michael Eifert, who's number 1 for the IBF. And then it's only really the WBO for whatever reason. I don't know why they haven't moved him up in the rankings yet. And the Najee Lopez thing keeps coming up. And I know, Clay, that's your guy, Najee Lopez.
That's literally who I was going to go. I'm going to say there's somebody sitting right there next to him.
Yeah, okay. But here's the thing, right? Najee Lopez, hell of a win, bro. Hell of a win against, what's his name? Garcia? Is that the guy's last name, Ray?
I think it's
Garcia.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Hell of a win. Can we be honest, Ray? What do you think Ben Whittaker would do to the guy that Najee Lopez just went to hell and back?
Listen, man. Let me not create the triangle.
That guy's
theory.
a dog, man. Don't do that.
Let me not create the triangle theory here. I like what you're saying. I think he does get a win. I think it's a solid win. What did he do to him? I don't know until they get in that ring and step in that circle together. But I would say this, and I was actually waiting for you to finish because this is what I really wanted to put on the table. The fight for him to have, especially if he's going back to England. I mean, I don't know why he is taking the fight after heart with whoever you say, but I like the Buatsi fight. I think that's going to be the one that puts the stamp on him. That's going to be the one that allows us to see who he really is. Because Buatsi has been show and go. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. But we know for a fact that he stands in the ring and he fights. We know for a fact that he's going to give pushback. We know for a fact Buatsi is a former championship contender. So we know the level that Buatsi is on. So if anybody's going to give a good fight or a good accolade or resume attachment to Ben Whittaker at this point, it would be Buatsi. I think that's the guy we need to look for and stamp on his tracks. And I think he does beat Buatsi, and that puts him in the right category. As far as David Morrell just needs to understand that he's no longer at 168 and a bully. I like David Morrell. I think he's one of my favorite fighters, right? But I just want to say he just hasn't been that guy once he moved up.
No,
I'm gonna let my play after this so I can get to the game.
All right, salute, man. Listen, man. At the end of the day, Joshua Buatsi will test the grit because that's what he's going to do is push that pace. Mm-hmm. And if we want to find out, because I see Knockout put in there once again, he brought up what we talked about earlier about that Liam Cameron first fight, and I don't think people really put the proper weight like Angelo on the back of that Liam Cameron fight. It wasn't that. It's not how he looked during the fight. It's that he found a way out. That's what it looked like. It looked like he quit. He ran. He sat in a wheelchair, and allowed himself to get wheeled. So it just shows we haven't seen him face any adversity since that moment. We've seen him show up. It's kind of like Daniel Dubois a little bit, just a little bit, right? Not all the way, but with Daniel Dubois, it's like he shows all this grit when he gets in there with Jarrell Big Baby Miller. He shows a grit when he gets in there with Philip Ergovich. He shows a grit when he gets in there Anthony Joshua. But when he got mentally stumped, all of a sudden he turned into he went back. He regressed. He turned back into this dude who I don't want to do this no more. It just looked bad, right? So for Ben Whittaker, for all of the showboating he did, for all of the antics he's done, he showed that he's got baby white thin.
The big baby Anderson.
And you know what, Clay?
When he was tested, he took his ball and he went home. He got upset. He said, "Give me." And he went home.
You know what, Clay?
Like, all that shit.
And here's the thing, Ray, before you leave, Clay's right. You know what, Clay? I'm going to hear that. But I need you to hear me when I say, didn't Keyshawn Davis just do some baby shit too? Ooh. Didn't he just sit there and actually ruin an event? Didn't he actually sit there and do something so crazy that he had to take a mental health break? And when he comes back,
yeah, but he didn't do it in the ring, bro. He didn't do it in the ring. It's different.
But all I'm saying is, he didn't do it in the ring because the fight didn't even happen, bro. Because he screwed Edwin De Los Santos. Because that's some baby ass move that he did.
It's a big difference because he wasn't faced with adversity.
All I'm trying to ask you to do, Clay, I heard you. I'm just asking you to do the same thing for this silver medalist that you're doing for this silver medalist.
That's to earn it, bro. I'm going to tell you like this. When Keyshawn came back, all that was on the line. He had to show and prove that with Jermaine Ortiz. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And he still has to show and prove. He's going back to Virginia to fight who? Yes. Nahir Albright. You know what I'm saying? He's facing the music. And that's what Ben has to do. So nobody's going to give Ben anything. Ben is going to have to earn it inside that ring. And he just hasn't done it yet because he hasn't been faced with that same kind of adversity. That's why I agree with Ray Davis. I'm saying Joshua Buatsi, yeah. I think Joshua Buatsi can give him that look. Maybe Jesse Hart can give him that look, but until he earns it, we don't know what cloth he's cut from. Because when he's looking good, he's looking great. But everybody loves sunshine. Everybody loves it. But tell me,
when it starts raining,
can you stand the rain? And that's the question that everybody wants to know about Ben Whittaker, and he hasn't had an opportunity to answer that question yet. So until he does it,
okay. It is. I just want to make sure because we got it on record. If he beats Jesse Hart, you guys are cool with this. If he beats Anthony Yard next, you guys are cool with this. If he fights Joshua Buatsi, you're cool with this. So I just want to make sure, because when those three things do happen, I just want to make sure that there's no going back and going, bro.
Unless he faces that kind of adverse. Let me tell you something, bro. Let's say he sweeps the next 5 fighters, right? He just busts all they ass, right?
But it's the names you're talking about, by the way. It's the names you're talking about.
Names. If he goes all the way straight to a championship, right? And he faces no adversity. Trust me when I tell you this. Going into that fight, into that big championship fight, you know what they're gonna say? Nah, he's been showing up, man. I just still don't know what he's gonna do when somebody puts back at him because nobody did it yet. He has to answer that question because what we saw him do it. Even I just saw Paulie Malignaggi and them talking about, he was great, bro. But everybody's asking the question because we know what that means. He's going to try to sell it to us and tell us that he really had an injury and he couldn't fight. And maybe it's the truth. But aesthetically speaking, I'm talking all kind of pundits in the space, across the UK space, Talk Sports, all those guys are like, yeah, bro, he quit.
He did. Listen, that is just, it is what it is. I mean, I understand also, look, Clay, what you said is a dime. You know what I mean? You could drop that 100 times and land on heads. But Angel does have a good reference point. I'll use that statement as a reference point. It does raise questions, but you're right. He also, Clay, where Keyshawn already started his redemption. Unfortunately, when Ben Whittaker started his redemption, he got the guy up out of there so quick that it didn't didn't test the waters. You know what I mean? We didn't understand why it happened in the first place. So it creates a mindset of, is he really him? As opposed to somebody that was him, that was a champion, that didn't make weight, the guy that created all these different situations. I mean, they're two different roads to the same to a similar, and I mean not say the same, to the same block, similar blocks, right? But at the same time, they're two different instances. So I get it, both sides here. I'm just mediating that one. I'm gonna take off mediation.
At the end of the day, I know what Angelo's saying, right? What Angelo's going through is he knows in his heart of hearts who Ben Whittaker is. But what he has to accept is Ben got to show. Ben got to show it. And what you're going to have to do is take your hands off him like, Ben, I love you, bro. And I know it. But
unfortunately, Edwin, we're not going to get that.
You did the funny WrestleMania flip out the ring, Shawn Michaels thing, bro. And that is what it is, bro. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? I know that was probably a moment, but you did that. You flipped out the ring and did the funny.
You got the super kick out of the air. Nobody.
You were grabbing your ankle and you felt you didn't even touch your ankle. Nobody could even put it together. I remember.
You couldn't reach it, bro. You stuck in the ropes,
bro. I remember how many times they replayed it as everybody was trying to see where it happened at. Like, oh, let's get this angle.
It was crazy work. I was disappointed.
He was grabbing his back. He was like, "Oh, my back!" He was grabbing his back, and it turned out to be something wrong with his ankle.
I was disappointed in that fight.
He has to show improve. He has to win. He has to keep dominating, and eventually, when it's all said and done, I believe that Ben Whittaker is going to show that he's one of the best guys in the light heavyweight division, if not the best guy in the light heavyweight division, outside of obviously a David Benavidez or either one Dimitri Bivol or Turbet or BF. But it's going to be through the right test, through the rites and passage. He's got to do that. Let's go ahead and keep on moving in the conversation though, because there's only so far we can go with this. Ben, good luck, bro. We're going to watch you, man. We love watching you fight, man. Great victory, great knockout.
We are going to do a read the ring. Clay and I are doing a read the ring on the 175 division because we got to talk about Benavidez and the whole bit. So look out for that. But go ahead, Clay. Next part of the slate.
So next point of the conversation is going to be: should I just go into David Benavidez? Let's go into David Benavidez.
You really should, man. You
Yeah,
really should.
Right, David Benavidez. It's a weekend. It's 2 weeks away. Let's just say it's 2 weeks away, right? It's 2 weeks away for David Benavidez, and listen, he's going up into the cruiserweight division. Somebody asked me earlier today who asked for that fight, and I said, you know what? Maybe we did ask for the fight, but we just didn't ask for this fight. And what fight? What did I mean by that? David Benavidez has always been given this weight bully jacket, right? You know, at 168 pounds, he was never able to get the biggest fight that was there, which was Canelo Alvarez, because why? Canelo said, all you bring to me fight night is 25 pounds. It is what it is, right? He's always been the bigger guy. He's always been able to push through the pressure, walk through the shots, you know, just tire out a Caleb Plant, overwhelm a Boo Andrade, right? Always able to show up in those fights and be what the name that they gave to him, which is the Mexican Monster. And that's why he's been given the name. He goes up into the light heavyweight division. He fights an Alexander Vozniak, who is arguably, if not even arguably, bigger than David Benavidez, but not in his prime, right? Not the guy that, you know, Artur Beterbiev fought, right? He's not active. He's not that guy. Does it check the boxes? Not for a lot of boxing fans. I'll tell you for myself personally, it didn't necessarily check the boxes, not to mention injuries. He didn't perform. You know, I mean, he did a good job, and he's always shown that grit, but he didn't get a chance to silence the naysayers. He didn't get a chance to show and prove that this is more than just size and all these different things, that I am the truth. Then he goes into a fight with Anthony Yarde, and I thought Anthony Yarde would test him in a certain way, but he didn't. He shit the bed. Anthony Yarde did not deliver that night. He sat there, took a bunch of punches, stayed in the high guard, tried to take all the punishment that David Benavidez could give him, and he got broken down. But it didn't check the boxes. We don't know what happens when David Benavidez goes against that bigger fighter who's going to potentially put David Benavidez on his back foot. And let's see how David Benavidez deals with that adversity. So to answer the question to somebody who asked me earlier, did we ask for this fight? Maybe we did. We didn't ask for Zurdo Ramirez, but did we ask him to be in the ring with a bigger fighter, or somebody where he can't just, you know, lean on them like the monster? Or if he does lean on them like the monster, it shows and proves that he's a fighter whose skill set transcends weight classes. Zurdo might be able to check the boxes. He comes with some accolades too, Angelo. He comes with a unification, 2 belts. So what is it, the WBO and the WBA? He comes with those as well, man. So that's something there as well for him. I think this fight right here gives David Benavidez an opportunity, and on Cinco de Mayo weekend, gives him an opportunity to really show and prove in a fight where I think he's going to be in front of a gained opponent in Zurdo Ramirez. He's not going to be running. He's going to be standing tall right there in the square, and we might even see David Benavidez on his back foot. I don't know. I'm not that upset at the fight, man. What do you think?
So here we go again with the and how long did we already spend on the Ben Whittaker and you should be fighting blah this and blah that. So I'm gonna do my best to not sound like I hate David Benavidez. All right, I really am. I'm gonna do my very best because I don't hate David Benavidez. I love David Benavidez. I remember seeing him when he was just a chubby little kid at Wild Card Gym. You know, it's all love, nothing but love for the Benavidez family, bro. It's just that at ATP Combat Media, we don't play favorites, Clay. We don't play favorites. If Ben Whittaker messes up, I'll be the first one to call him out, right? Mm-hmm. Keyshawn, if he messes up, like even if I rock for you, I get it. Did you get to read that super chat, by the way?
Let me read it because I saw Coach Hackett in the building. HLD said Keyshawn duck De Los Santos and misweighed on purpose. Whittaker is cut from the same cloth. Pressure bust pipes. Someone called Mario and Luigi to fix them leaking pipes. Lord child, man. Lord child. I'm gonna tell you, man. Both of them showed weakness in their own way, but I do think the Liam Cameron one is a little bit more incriminating. It's just like in the midst of the heat of the moment you did that, whereas Keyshawn probably wasn't even thinking about De Los Santos when he did all that funky shit he did. He probably was on some total.
You mean like missing weight, bro?
Yeah, I'm just saying. Yeah, like I don't think he gave a fuck like that about De Los Santos. I think there's a whole lot of other things potentially going on. Him drinking, he's talking about how he dealt with the whole camp. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It didn't do that for me. I didn't look at him like, oh, he ducked De Los Santos. I looked at it like he fucked up the fight with De Los Santos. Shout out to Coach Hackett in the building. Salute Coach Hackett. Says Yard didn't shit the bed. The monster is just that good. We gotta respect his G. Hey, listen. On the back end of what he does up at the cruiserweight division, I'll look back at that fight differently. How about that? On the back end of him doing Zurdo Ramirez so bad, I might be like, damn, nah, he was really just a monster. But, you know, Anthony Yarde just didn't show up the way I thought he would show up. He didn't let his hands go. He's the guy who was the puncher in that one. He didn't let his hands go. He was too concerned about what David Benavidez was sending back at him. And it might be what you said, Coach. That might be what it is. He might just be the monster, and we might need to respect his G. But Anthony Yarde put up a bigger, harder fight against Benavidez. You know, just we've seen him against the best in that division, and he put up a better fight against them than he did David Benavidez. Now, maybe it's because David Benavidez is him. It's very possible, but I don't know what to think about it. I think in the Zurdo fight, going up to 25 pounds, up to 200 pounds, I think that might put some perspective on everything I saw in that fight with Yarde. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Coach Bernard Hackett, thank you as always for supporting us and joining us. We're looking forward to having you and Jaleel back on the show to make an announcement soon on what's going on with Jaleel. But yeah, let's go with that one, right? So the whole thing is Benavidez him? And this is where I've always been at. At 168, I was like, that dude's the monster for real. He busted everyone up at 168. Some people, not me, because you know I don't like the weight bully narrative for anything. If you can make the weight, you make the weight. Paul Williams made the weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just Tyson Fury, is he a weight bully? If you know, like you make the weight, that you make the weight, and that's what it is, right? So I never called him a weight bully. He was just smoking everyone to the point where Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC had to play these weird games in order to protect Canelo by giving him what they called the what the fuck? It was the franchise belt, the McDonald's belt, the franchise belt,
super duper
right.
belt. Yeah.
No, but that's what it was. They invented a whole new thing called the WBC franchise, which apparently meant you could serve burgers and fries with the golden arches and never have to fight David Benavidez. So at that point, I was already like, nah, that guy's the man. I'm rocking with David Benavidez. You guys are messing with this guy. The only reason why he's not him is because the one guy that should give him a shot never gave him a shot, right? Now, here's when it all goes a little left for me, Clay. Here's where it all goes a little left.
Uh-oh.
See, I'm okay if I'm saying that for you, David. Now, when you start saying it for yourself, then I better see you move that direction because you are saying you're him. All right, cool. So what'd you do at 175? Let's track it, as Claymore said. You fought Vosnik. Vosnik got knocked the hell out by Hot Rod Kolodzic on Zuffa Boxing. That's the Vosnik that you, sir, could not knock out. I'm just throwing it out there. That's what happened. It happened. Okay? Maybe you don't have the power that you do. Well, let's find out. Then what do you do next? Hell no, I ain't fighting no Jesse Hart. I'm fighting David Morrell. All right, fair. But the David Morrell who had a hard time with Hot Rod Kolodzic, the same David Morrell who like was at 168, and really everybody knows Morrell's better at 168 than he would ever be at 175 at that point, right? You guys fight, goes to decision, knockdown, no knockdown. All I know, David Benavidez, it happened. David Morrell knocked you down. Maybe it was a slip. I don't know what to tell you, bro, but it happened, right? But let's move on, Claymore. Anthony Yarde, and to Coach Bernard Hackett's point, he's saying it's not that Anthony Yarde was garbage. It's that David Benavidez was that good. I just want to make sure you know, Coach Bernard Hackett, that when Ben Whittaker beats the hell out of him too, I need you to keep the same energy. That's all. That's all I'm saying. Because you can't have one without the other. But Clay, I know for you, you weren't very happy with the Anthony Yarde fight. You felt like that wasn't a real challenge. Now, where I give the grace to David Benavidez, y'all, is that Claymore's right. When him and I have done our private podcast, he's absolutely right about this. That it's not David Benavidez's fault that he's trying to go for greatness and it just wasn't available for him at 175. It wasn't like he wasn't already calling out Bivol. He wanted to fight Bivol. But this whole Bivol-Beterbiev thing got held up from October of 2024 to February of 2025 then a back injury, then Beterbiev didn't want to do it. So it's not, so we can't blame David Benavidez for any of that, Clay. I'm right there with you. Zurdo Ramirez, though, you trying to make that a pay-per-view? Well, let me tell you what the people have said, Claymore, here in Las Vegas, Nevada. They don't want to go. You still struggling to get the whole arena packed. Ryan Garcia already sold more tickets by this point for the Barrios fight, right? And you're supposed to be the guy that takes over for Canelo as the superstar, the next face of boxing. Well, the next face of boxing should be able to sell out T-Mobile Arena like this. In fact, the next face of boxing should have done what Inoue and Junto Nakatani did, right? It just goes to show you, though, that Benavidez isn't that yet, Clay. He's not. And the reason why he's not, Clay, is because he chose, sir. He chose to move up in weight. A fight that we actually did not want to see. I don't want to see it. I mean, you're going to give it to me. I'm just saying I didn't ask for it, right? What's it going to accomplish? I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to accomplish. You're going to move up in weight to beat up the guy that you were already beating up in sparring, to collect WBO and WEA. And the only reason why Zurdo Ramirez has the WBO and WBA is because he's been too frightened and scared to fight the true cruiserweight king named Jai Opetaia for 2 whole years. You want to prove to me, David, that you're the man? You want to prove to me that you move like that? You want to prove to me that you are him? Then quit playing around, bro. Don't talk to me about how you're going to spend the next 7 months after May 2nd to get back down to 175. I don't want to hear that, because to me, that sounds like you're running away from the best. And the best in the business, the guy you should have already been on the pound-for-pound list, the guy who already broke David Hay and Evander Holyfield's record of cruiserweight lineal championship defenses, Jai Opetaia, that's the guy you got to fight. When you're willing to and ready to step up to fight that guy, then I'll crown you as him. In the meantime, Clay, I kind of agree with some people. Not really a fight I want to see, man.
Yo, shout out J Pin City. Says, salute, guys. Yup, a WBC. I'm a champ that never lost his title in the ring, so I'm still the champion, just not officially belt. Canelo didn't even have that belt to duck Benavidez. Listen, man, 100% J Pin City, and this is where Angel was talking about when I told him, not his fault, right? Those opportunities, he always chased those opportunities, and it's not about it being his fault. It's not about, David Benavidez being a duck or being scared. He's always wanted to fight the best in the division. I think one step at a time, though. And as I talk to Angelo about this, I'll tell you guys the same thing that I said. It's steps to this. David Benavidez is going up in the cruiserweight division. He has to see who he is up there. Jai Opetaia is the best in that division, hands down. The lineal champion in that division. Hands down, the best cruiserweight in that division. I don't know anybody who would argue it. How many people here are picking Zurdo Ramirez to beat Jai Opetaia? Not too many. He's a young, hungry Samoan. He comes with a country champion, bro. He wears his ego and his feelings on the sleeve of his shirt, bro. Cry in front of the people, right? When they were playing with him about his title. He is all about this fight game. David Benavidez looks at Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev as the fights for him. 175, let me fight those guys. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Maybe I'll get pushed back here. I'm sure I will. Those guys are old. Those guys are done. They're on their way out the door. On paper, it's gonna check the boxes and say you did something special. But between me and you, Dimitri Bivol just came out of back surgery. I don't even know who that guy is right now. Artur Beterbiev had knee surgery or something. I don't know who that 42, 43, 4. I don't know how old he is, 40, whatever old he is. I don't even know who that guy is. No activity since he lost against Dimitri Bivol. Jai Opetaia is the guy. He is the guy, and he has a fan base. He's over there with Zuffa Boxing right now. He's going to be on the WWE. You're going to see him over there with them Samoans backing him up. The Rock is probably going to be standing next to him. His brand is getting huge. The people love him. I got a bunch of Australian fans that have popped up here, Samoan fans that have popped out here. Shout out to the Uso. right? I didn't even realize how big, how much of an attraction he was until I saw the reaction to us shooting a video about him and how many Australian fans came over here and was like, "Thank you, man. We appreciate it." Thousands
I
and
tried to
thousands
tell
of
you,
views,
bro.
right?
I tried to tell
So,
you.
so what I'm betting on is, let's see what happens after the Zurdo Ramirez fight. Win this fight, and on the back end of a victory, let's see what he decides to do. Because I believe David Benavidez is the kind of guy who doesn't mind pivoting. He's always shown the heart to pivot. He pivoted from Jesse Hart and went to David Morrell. He pivoted from waiting for Caleb Smith and the PBC to put it together, and he went over to Riyadh season and fought Anthony Yarde. And he pivoted from waiting for Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev, who was still talking about doing a trilogy, and he moved up and made his own fight happen with Zurdo Ramirez. So let's see if he pivots at the end of this fight and says, you know what? Dimitri Bivol, Artur Beterbiev, they're playing games. They're not even guaranteeing me the fight. Why put my body through that and cut this weight and go back down to 175? Jai, you got that lineal belt. They say you the guy, huh? I say I'm the guy. I done tested the waters. I picked up 2 belts up here in unified. Let me become a unified lineal champion in the cruiserweight division. And maybe on the back end of that, maybe we might talk some heavyweight talk if he's really trying to cement that legacy. It is what it is, but one fight at a time. It is Zurdo Ramirez next. And let's see how he deals with the bigger fighter in Zurdo Ramirez. Let's see if he ends up on his back foot, how he reacts to that adversity, to the fact that he can't just stand in front of Zurdo Ramirez the way he wants to. Let's see if Zurdo Ramirez can even test him that way. Because we're asking Zurdo also test him that way. He might get steamrolled and not show nothing, right? I think with Gilberto might be a little different. I don't think he walks him down. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Shout out to J Pitt City. Says Zuffa only kept cruiserweight division because of Whittaker. Probably. They should have went all the way traditional and got rid of 168 and added flyweight 112. Maybe. Faze the Great says, Clay, you from the ATL, huh? No, I'm not from the ATL, but I lived in ATL for a minute. Wow, what happened? How you know I'm from the ATL? Somebody told you about me, man? What's good, Faze the Great? What's good? Moon Man says, David Benavidez is on a different level. You'll see. Hey, man, I see he's on a different level. You know what I mean? But, you know, the thing about boxing is timing is everything. You know, when you think about when Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao fought, it was not in the right time. You think about the argument for this Anthony Joshua Tyson Fury fight, arguably is not the right time. Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder past its time. There's a season, there's a time for these fights. And it just feels like the Dimitri Bivol or Artur Beterbiev fight, the time passed. Done. It seems like they did their best work with each other. And it seems like if they go through a trilogy, that might be about it. You might probably have a better chance of fighting Dimitri Bivol up at cruiserweight than actually getting him to wait for you or go down there and fight him in the light heavyweight division where he's already been undisputed and he beat the undisputed champion twice. If he fights Artur Beterbiev again, he'll probably beat him again. Does he stay down there and wait for you? And are you chasing Dimitri Bivol again like you chased Canelo Alvarez? Unless Dimitri Bivol solidifies a deal and says, I'm fighting you after this fight and there's a contract, what are you really doing when you got a Gilberto who's dying to fight somebody? Keep in mind that rumors are circulating that they might be able to put this fight together between him and McLennan. He might be picking up that WBC title. You know, just opportunity there. So something for him to look at. Let's see if he pivots. Let's move on, move the topic again here. We talked about Nakatani. We talked about what did we talk about? We talked about Ben Whittaker.
We talked about Inoue Nakatani.
Yeah, we talked about Ben Whittaker.
We're going to do a read the ring on that. We talked about Ben Whittaker. We're going to do a read the ring on 175. We talked about Benavidez, Cinco de Mayo weekend. So now,
so let's talk about Zuffa for a second here. Let's talk about Richardson Hitchens. Let's talk about Devin Haney. Let's talk about Zuffa boxing for a minute here. Cover these guys the right way here. So it's in. We kind of saw it coming. We all wondered what was going to happen. Was Richardson Hitchens going to defend his IBF title? Why were we asking that? Because the Zuffa boxing conversation gets more and more interesting every week. We wanted to know, and it looks like we're still going to be in the air waiting for that answer because Hitchens is not going to defend his IBF title. He's vacated the title. He's committed to fighting at 147 pounds. On the back end of that, we're watching a 147-pound division slowly be built up. Conor Benn signed a 5-fight, 2.5-year deal. He'll be at 147. Rumor has it Teofimo Lopez may be in some negotiations to also come and join the 147 conversation in Zuffa boxing. And of course, Devin Haney's floating out there looking for a dance partner, unable to find that dance partner to give him the guaranteed money he wants. It looks like Zuffa is, I know you're going to say they're not changing, but it does look like they're I'm not going to say they're changing so it doesn't sound negative, like, oh, they're changing their whole stance. It looks like they're evolving. Looks like they're growing into what they're ultimately going to end up being, because Dana White does not turn away from changes that are going to make his brand bigger. He's not overcommitted to an idea to the point to where he's going to do it to his own detriment. Me, myself, I was always here for Zuffa Boxing, the league, the idea of it, and I always pictured it for what it was for me, which was a place for prospects to turn into contenders, for young contenders who wasn't able to get the opportunities in the traditional space to be active, to show the world what they did on a big platform with a lot of viewership, and to build some stars up, maybe even get in the top 10 ring. I never really looked at it as a place for the stars, for the Devin Haneys, the Shakurs, or the Richardson Hitchens, the Edgar Berlangas, the Jao Batais. I didn't see it that way, but here we are. And
well, can I just hold on? Because I know you didn't see it that way, but who's been telling you from the get-go, bro, when we first started talking about Zuffa, that when you say we're in the pudding now, here we are. Who's been telling you that since last year, that what Zuffa's going to do? Wasn't I the person that kept saying, oh, no, they're going to sign the stars too. They're coming too. Did I not say that? Have I not always stood my ground and said, the Zuffa takeover is coming? Now, to your point, and I'll let you finish and land your plane. But
I'm landing. I mean,
okay.
Let me see.
All right. All I've always said is Dana's plan was a 5-year plan. The Zuffa takeover was going to happen within 5 years. And then what happened after Zuffa Boxing 2? Dana White gets on a post-fight conference and says, these guys are so bad at what they're doing, they don't even know what the game is. I'm actually moving faster than I thought I would move. That's all that's happened. He's moving faster than what he thought he would move. So when you did your video that you guys should check out on the Rain Report about it being a hybrid, I disagree in the sense that I've always told you that that was the plan. We had this conversation about these bigger name guys are going to eventually sign to Zuffa, because Zuffa is going to show them the structure that says, why are you paying for sanctioning belts when it really doesn't matter that much? We are going to keep you active. We are going to give you the best advertising. We are going to give you the best fights, but just give it a chance. And what has Dana stood fast at since the first Zuffa 1? Let's talk at the end of 2026. And at the end of 2026, if you guys still don't like what I gave you, then that's cool. What else has Dana White said, Clay? If you think you're doing such a good job, cool. Do you? Because I'm not worried about you. I'm going to do me. And the only thing about the me that Dana White and Zuffa Boxing has been doing, Clay, is they're just moving faster than they thought. They got the Sky Sports deal like that, bro, because it was that easy for them. They were like, damn. You know, we don't even have as many British fighters yet, but, well, if we're going to do Sky Sports deal now, then I guess we got to open the door. And then what do you got? Christian Billiam-Smith comes in. That's one of the biggest signings for them for Sky Sports, bro. Billiam-Smith's career was built on Sky Sports, and now Zuffa Boxing has them. Christian Billiam-Smith, by the way, is number 2 at cruiserweight, right? The Australia, they got that territory. The last time we talked, Clay, about the territories, Zuffa Boxing at the end of Zuffa 4 had 18 territories. After that, going into Zuffa 5, I think they had 30 territories. Now I just heard Dana saying he already got 90 territories, bro. There is a back end television rights type deals that's happening. That's proving to you already what I've been telling you since last year, bro. The Zuffa takeover is in full effect. You did a video about it. I don't agree that it's necessarily hybrid more than it was their eventual plan 5 years from now. Anyways, it's just kind of happening earlier. Now, I like to brag about the fact that every single time I seem to break news here about Zuffa, at some point it tends to happen. Remember when we were having a conversation about Devin Haney and maybe he might sign with Zuffa? Well, Bill on Sunday started throwing out the tea leaves. Then Two-Tone was like, oh my God, is Haney going to Zuffa? When is the announcement? I just want to say again, for the record, if you listen to ATP Combat Media, since I've been here as the co-host of Claymore Reign, I told you already There are things that happen on the back end, and I knew Devin Haney was not going to be able to avoid the money, which, by the way, Clay, that's what you said. Bill wants the money. Well, $15 million for Conor Benn on a 1-fight deal. Now a big-ass 2.5-year, 5-fight deal. You don't think Devin Haney wants the security of being able to beat up people like Richardson Hitchens? Being able to fight people like Teofimo Lopez? You don't think he wants the security, bro? Because at the end of the day, when people think that you and I hate on Devin Haney, how many times have we repeatedly said Devin Haney is the number one best 147-pound fighter in the world? Period. End of story. Don't really want to hear it anymore. He's the best. He's having a hard time putting together fights. And Dana White says, no problem, baby. Come on over to the Zuffa office. Let's sign this contract because I got to fight for you, Devin. How about Lineal Ring Magazine Championship with one of our new signees, Emmanuel Stanionis, as your first fight? $15 million. Would you like that? Would you like that, Claymore? $15 million, Devin Haney against Stanionis for the Ring Magazine Lineal Championship. What do you think?
Well, I think that's, once again, I think the difference between me and you is I don't add everything to it because I don't know what's happening, right? I don't know if it's a $15 million. I don't know if it's for Stanionis. I have no idea if it's not for a Teofimo Lopez fight, or if it's not for a Richardson Hitchens fight, or if it's not for a Conor Benn fight. I don't know what it is, right? But here's what I do know. The intention is clear from Zuffa Boxing. And the intention is that where the idea that most people had about Zuffa was that they weren't going to acknowledge the sanctioning body belts, that they weren't going to work with them. But what they're showing as they play their hands out 3 times now, one time with Whittaker, another time with Richardson Hitchens, and this time with Conor Benn as well, who's made it clear that his goal is to become a WBC champion and has just signed a 5-fight, 2.5-year deal to fight at 147 pounds and trying to make a fight happen with Ryan Garcia that without a doubt, Dana White is 100%, and he's even said it, anything is possible. He's 100% okay with working with the sanctioning bodies. Maybe he changed his mind. Maybe he always planned on working with the sanctioning bodies. I don't know why he would sit there and say that he wasn't going to when he really knew he was going to. I don't know, bro. Smoke and mirrors, or maybe he's just adjusting to the real-time data and realizing this makes more sense now than maybe when I said it before. I don't know what's driving it, but I call it the hybrid takeover because Dana White's willingness to entertain all these different, to entertain whatever it takes in order to fulfill the goal, which is to make Zuffa Boxing succeed, is showing that with the resources he has, with the machine he has behind him, with the open mind he's proven that he has, it does make it somewhat of a wild card. It does make it a place where a Devin Haney can now have a home, somebody who respects the belts, who sat there on the inside the ring and said, the belts matter, bro. Fuck that, man. That's what we want. We want the belts. For a Conor Benn to come over there and be like, yeah, man, I want a WBC belt because of my dad, bro. And we're going to do that here. And Dana be like, yup. For Whittaker to come over there and say, I want to become a unified, undisputed champion in the world. And Dana says, we're going to help you get there. Granted, the IBF stripped him of that belt. I had it out with Ness earlier today about it to say that, you know what? Dana maybe didn't handle it right. Maybe all that shit talking he did in the beginning did get in the way of Whittaker. But is Dana going to change? Is he going to be able to fix it? Is that bridge destroyed? Or is that something that can be fixed? Can it be repaired? Can he get on the same page with sanctioning bodies who are all about making money when he's offering huge purses for these fights and puts the sanctioning bodies in position to make money? Oh, yeah. Compound that with the fact that on the back end of that Ali Act going through, there'll be no more interim titles, silver belts, all these other belts to where these sanctioning bodies find a way to make money. They're going to have their titles defended more often, and they're going to have their champions getting the biggest purses. Is Golden Boy going to give the biggest purses? Is Top Rank going to give the biggest purses? Is any of these companies going to give bigger purses than what Dana White's going to give? I think off the strength of just competition alone, Dana's going to make sure he does them at a minimum the way he did Bam, which is, all right, you can have them, but you're going to have them for this price point because here's the money I'm putting on the table. He's going to make them pay for it, and it's going to become a war of attrition. So, yeah, there is a takeover, and it will seem hybrid, I think, when it's all said and done, because there'll be a Zuffa belt. There'll be a league. That will exist. But what it looks like is going to coexist is also fighters who fighting for Zuffa holding sanctioning body belts, competing for sanctioning body belts. And that makes the conversation way more interesting when it's all said and done, because now Dana is legitimately in these other traditional space boxing promotional companies' backyard. He's legitimately in their backyard playing with their food now, saying, yeah, nah. I'm fighting for Mauricio's attention too, for Gustavo's attention too. I'm at all those motherfuckers. Oh, I thought you were, yeah, I changed my mind, whatever. Wham, Cry Me a River. However, it don't matter, bro. This is what I'm doing. So what? And on the back end of that Ali Act, it says that I can do it all. It says that I can have a league and a championship belt for my league. And guess what else it says? It says there's nothing stopping me from putting on an event to where Devin Haney is fighting to unify and become an undisputed champion or become a lineal champion, or Teofimo Lopez is fighting for a championship. So how does a Ryan Garcia see that now? How does a Brian Norman Jr. see that now? If they see this successfully executed, they're looking at Zuffa differently today than they were yesterday. If they see Conor Benn fight Ryan Garcia for that WBC title, bro, they're going to look at Zuffa different than they did a week ago. They're going to be like, oh, shit, hold on. Well, I thought y'all weren't doing that. I thought if we went over there, we had to forget about this. Dana's like, nah, not necessarily. Anything could change. Not necessarily is a big word to somebody looking for opportunity, right? When somebody says, you come over here, you can get a Lamborghini. You always wanted a Lamborghini. I only fuck with Fords. So I definitely get you a Mustang, but I ain't got no problem working with Lamborghini, trying to get you a Lamborghini. Anything is possible. It's like,
well, here's the thing that we've always, and I'm on record explaining this whole thing when it was on like one of our episodes 3 weeks ago, where I was explaining when everybody's going, oh, see, Dana's changing his mind. Guys, just look back. All right. Look back at the post-fight conferences. Dana White, Zuffa Boxing 1, post-fight conference. What does he say, Claymore? Anything is possible. Every question that they're asked, hey, how are you going to work with this sanctioning body, with that? Anything is possible. How many times have you heard Dana White keep saying those same words? Anything is possible. Now, Claymore, in the hype week of WrestleMania, Conor Benn signs that deal. I send you a text. I know. Sometimes you don't be reading the text. That's all right, though. All right. I send you a text, and what did I tell you? This is the biggest chess move of all, and if nobody talks about the fact that this is a chess move, then they're missing the entire boat. See, Conor Benn was told that he was the mandatory. And by the WBC committee rules, when you're the mandatory and Ryan Garcia has to fight you, if Oscar De La Hoya, who seems to hate Dana White, chooses not to let Ryan Garcia fight Conor Benn, you know what happens by committee rule? It's this thing called a purse bid. And I promise all y'all one thing. Oscar De La Hoya ain't finding no money to outbid Dana White on a purse bid. And on a purse bid, the winning promoter gets to promote the entire event. Welcome to Zuffa, Ryan Garcia. This is how you get out of Golden Boy Promotions, because you've always said you're not really that happy with them. But I understand, Ryan.
I just don't know if that.
Hold on. Let me finish. I understand, Ryan. You're not trying to ruffle the feathers. I get it. So we're going to have Nick Khan, who's worked with Oscar De La Hoya before, and we're going to try to get Nick Khan to do a very legitimately great deal that will be good for everyone. If Oscar plays games, this is a little clapback Thursdays or whatever, and says, hell no, I'm not letting Ryan Garcia fight Conor Benn, then the only person that could really stop that from happening rule-wise is the WBC. But if the WBC stands on their ground as the committee rules, it'll go to purse bid. And on a purse bid, now you're going to have a Zuffa Boxing promoted event between Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn. And you guys are, we'll see what happens. Maybe Conor Benn does lose. You know what is different, though? When Conor Benn loses, he has 4 more fights guaranteed with Zuffa, and Zuffa's not going to turn their backs on him just because he lost to Ryan Garcia. And that's if he loses. If he wins, Lord Child, oh my God. Now you're talking about what you've been saying, Clay, which is the whole, well, how is Zuffa going to deal with an actual WBC champion, an actual sanctioning body champion, along with this guy possibly being a Zuffa champion too? And that's the hybrid thing you're talking about, right? Where I push back at Ness, and shout out to the Boxing Voice. Ness, shout out to you, man. My guy Claymore always be jumping in there. The fault of Jai Opetaia being stripped, and I get it. It's a fun way to spin that it was Dana's fault. Jai did nothing wrong. And the IBF took away his belt, and everyone in Australia and everybody in the Polynesian community doesn't like the IBF for doing it wrongfully. There could have been a better way for them to do that, right? Jai repeatedly said, I did everything they asked me to do. I paid for the sanctioning fee, which I heard on the show that did they even pay? They paid it up front, bro. And in fact, the IBF had to write a letter that said, and we had to give the money back. So that means the money was already paid. So it wasn't like Dana wasn't willing to work with sanctioning bodies. But let me again repeat from our other shows, Clay, what I said. What Dana's saying is under the Zuffa boxing banner, we're not going to deal with the sanctioning bodies because just like the UFC doesn't carry a PFL belt or a one championship belt, the UFC is just about the UFC belt. That's what Zuffa's doing. The Zuffa players are playing for a Zuffa boxing belt. But remember him also being very transparent and saying that his goal is to get you to that, but then for you to go to Riyadh season so that Turki Al-Sheikh can go ahead and let you fight for however you want. And even you've agreed with this, where you said you feel that Zuffa is going to create all the best champions or create their own thing, and Zuffa champions are going to fight other champions. Mm-hmm. That's all good for boxing. So Gustavo Oliveri, who's WBO, has already said, I support the Muhammad Ali Act's right to take away interim championships. He's actually wrote it down and said it. He said, I support that part of the act. He says, I got some issues with some of the other things on the Revival Act, but that particular part of the Revival Act, I completely agree with. There should be no more interim championships. All right, cool. That means the WBO is probably willing to play with Dana, right? The WBA usually follows what the WBO does, so I'm not too worried about the WBA playing ball with Dana, right? The WBC, will they, Claymore, mess around and change their own rules and not allow Conor Benn versus Ryan Garcia to go to purse bid? You tell me, man, because the IBF's the one that fucked.
We don't know. We don't know what they're going to do, right? But still, it doesn't. The thing about it is, Dana's pivoting a little bit. That's what he's showing and proving that he's willing to do. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think one thing about Dana, like I said, is that he's always shown and proven that he's going to do what he has to do. You know what I'm saying? He never stated that. He made it very clear he wasn't going to work with the sanctioning bodies. That's why the IBF took the position that they took, was because that's the information they got as well. That's why I have well over 50%, if not a lion's share of the fan base is like confused. A lot of people are confused because the messages have been mixed. Dana's moving in real time and he's changing and he's evolving in real time. Like he said, it's moving faster than he thought it was going to move. He thought he was going to do 12 shows to 14 shows for the year. He says, I might do 40. He's letting the world know that I didn't see it, but no problem. I'm going to rock with it. And I think that's where we are right now. And I think this hybrid version, we'll see on the back end of that Ali Act, the way he plans on carrying it. But he's signing these fighters. You hear Edgar Berlanga talking in his interviews. He's like, yo, bro, I still want to be a champion. I want to go. And he's not talking about no Zuffa champion. He's talking about
168.
He's talking about belts. So he's had these same conversations with Dana. You know what I'm saying? He's had the same conversation with Nick Khan. And they're like, yeah, we can do that. And they're like, oh, I didn't know you'd be willing to do that. In that case, sign me up. I'm willing to do it. It is what it is. Nas FIFA, cite which source? What source do you want cited? Put that in the chat. What do you mean by cite the source? What source? What source, Nas FIFA? What source do you want? Shout out to everybody in the building. Hit the like button, by the way, while you're in the building. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. But Nas FIFA, what source? Devin to Zuffa, who's behind this rumors? Okay. We're not sitting here saying Devin's going to Zuffa. That's not what this conversation is about. The question is, rumors are circulating that he's entertaining Zuffa, right? We don't know if he's going to Zuffa. What we're trying to make an argument for as to whether or not he would go to Zuffa and why would he go to Zuffa. And this is built around the idea that if Conor Benn is signing to Zuffa for a 5-fight deal for 2.5 years, and he just made $15 million just to fight Regis Prograis, understanding who Bill Haney and Devin Haney is, that they're about their money, combine that with the fact that they're having a hard time getting the guaranteed money they want to fight on the traditional space. We saw how Rolly Romero and the PBC wanted to give him back-end money, no real upfront guaranteed money on the back end of a $6 million bill covered first, and then they'll split that 50-50. He doesn't want to do that. Eddie Hearn isn't offering him the Lewis Crocker fight. Top Rank isn't screaming at him to come over there and fight somebody over there. So what is he waiting for? Is Zuffa boxing a legitimate option for Devin Haney? Yes, it is. So this is not about Devin Haney's going to Zuffa boxing, right? That's not what this is about. This is about whether or not it's a legitimate option for him for the kind of fighter he is, which is a legacy fighter who fights for sanctioned and body belts, who goes for undisputed to be a lineal champion. And we're proving here, or speaking on here, that Dana White is showing and proving that he's willing to participate in that conversation. Therefore, it does make it a legitimate space for Devin Haney to be in.
No, and
I hope that cleared that up for you, Nas FIFA.
No, Nas FIFA, I'll even answer for you even more clear. You want a source? Go to the Boxing Voice. It's in an episode in January, right after Devin Haney had beaten Brian Norman. I'm pretty sure it's in the Boxing Voice, in where Ness is interviewing Bill Haney, and that's the source. Bill Haney himself, when asked the direct question about Zuffa and how Zuffa's rolling out, Bill Haney's exact words, and again, it's coming from Bill Haney's mouth. PBC, yeah, we want the Zuffa boxing belt also. That's from Bill Haney. That's from Bill Haney, Nas FIFA. He said that on the Boxing Voice.
Right. So yeah, but it doesn't say that he's going, right?
No, I know. I'm just saying that because he's like, I don't know. You explained it just fine. Right. I'm just trying to say there's no better rumor where this rumor is coming from than if Bill Haney started it a few months ago, and then now there's an opportunity for him to do it. And then you got everyone talking about it, from him calling Najee on Sunday to now Two-Tone talking about it. I mean, I've been saying it since even before, because the minute Bill Haney even left room to say those words, yeah, we want the Zuffa boxing belt also. All right. That means it wasn't a shut door. Wasn't a shut door.
Once again, at the end of the day, without a doubt, Bill Haney will sit down in a room with Dana White and chop up business. And if the business makes sense, without a doubt, Bill Haney will pull the trigger on money, on good money for his son and his fighter, Devin Haney. He's shown it plenty of times. That's why he's independent for these kind of scenarios, to be able to jump into the most lucrative opportunity. The only thing that's always kept a fighter like Devin Haney, for me, out of the conversation with the Dana White is the money and the freedom. If you let Devin Haney do whatever he wants to do, you're just pushing his fights. You put him in position to make the biggest fights, and you're paying him the money. Devin will take it. Bill will take it. I believe they will. Are they going to do that right now? Tom's going to tell. Let's find out. Let's wait and see. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he says, you know what, that's not for me. Maybe they sit there, but I'm telling you, they'll talk about it. And if Dana makes it make sense to them, they'll jump on it.
Can I just say, Bill, I know you haven't been, he hasn't been on your show yet, right? Hasn't been on ATP Combat yet. So, Bill, the minute you signed that contract, just know that ATP Combat Media has been the most Zuffa-friendly channel from the get-go. So we would absolutely love to have you on and talk about how great Zuffa boxing is, bro. We would love it. We'd be honored, sir, for you to finally come and join the club. So, anyways, but I know it's that time, man.
Yeah, it is about that time. It is what it is, man. We got to wait and see. We're speculating right now, but without a doubt, the way that Zuffa's moving right now makes him more dangerous. And I know it has to make these other promoters nervous. It has to make them nervous, because the one thing that they all, the Oscar De La Hoyas and all those guys, the one thing they stood behind very confidently was, we're going to be loyal to the sanctioning body belts. We're going to discredit the Zuffa belt. We're even going to discredit the Ring Magazine belt. if Dana's in the conversation of working with sanctioned body belts, when I tell you they're going to turn on the Oscar De La Hoyas and all those guys so fast, because without a doubt, the biggest bankroll in boxing right now is the guys who are working with Turkey and the guys who are working with Paramount. Zuffa has access to the most money, and they showed and proved that by what they just did with Conor Benn. They showed and proved it. They took Conor Benn away from Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn looked at it and says, I can't match that. Sorry, I can't do that. They showed and proved what they can do if they feel like it. I don't know what they're paying Edgar Berlanga. I don't know what they're paying Richardson Hitchens, but I know both of them looked at it and said, Hitchens vacated his title. Edgar Berlanga went over there and said, we're going to continue getting it. I don't know what the money was, right? All you hear from the fighters that go over there to Zuffa is the pay is the best I've ever had, or just as good, or the best that I had in front of me at the moment. We don't know, but it looks like it's pointing in the direction of it being very lucrative to work with Zuffa. The one thing that held a fighter on the outside of working with Zuffa was the sanctioning body belts. And if that's no longer an issue, oh yeah, bro, it's going to be a problem. Period. I don't care how you want to look at it. If they can become unified champions and fight for these sanctioning body belts, bro, it's going to be a problem out here. Watch. It is what it is. Shout out to everybody in the building, man. I appreciate you guys. Great conversation we had today, man. Looking out for the fights this weekend, man. Oh yeah, Lawrence Okoli pops on he's done. The drug he was taking, by the way.
They canceled that whole show. They canceled that whole show, by the way.
Oh, they did? Okay,
canceled.
that makes sense. That makes sense. But Lawrence Okoli, do you know the steroid, the PED that he was taking? You know what it was for, right?
Was it like clenbuterol or something?
No. It was to up his appetite so he can gain weight. What did I say to you last night?
Yeah.
Didn't I say that motherfucker was crazy? 225, right. And I said all of a sudden he's fighting heavyweight 262 pounds. Yeah, he got way too big, bro. He got way too big. We saw it. Anyway, it is what it is. Anyway, salute to everybody in the building, man. Until the next one, man. Which video? What do you mean, which video?
Oh, no. He's talking about the it's you got to look at the boxing voice, bro. You can probably just type it in, NasVV. Just type in when Bill Haney said Zuffa boxing belt, and it'll probably pop up. So that's what he's talking about. It's on the boxing voice.
Oh, when he said that he would do the Zuffa belt?
Yeah, this was like in January. This was when they were doing, hey,
that.
What's next for Devin Haney? He beat Brian Norman, and then Bill Haney was doing the whole
work,
going after everybody.
I'm gonna tell you where else he said it. You can go find it on I want to say it was Brian Custer on the last.
Oh, okay. He might have said it on Brian Custer too. He for sure said it to Ness though.
Right.
Right.
So
yeah, but he might have said it to Brian Custer also. Yeah.
You definitely could find it though. Until the next one, guys, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, man. Salute to everybody who popped up in the building, man. It's at ATP Combat Media. It's your boy Range, your boy Reyes. Until the next one, at this point, we out.
They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to come and run it all back. I'm the new era, about to snap back. You ain't fitting for it, cause you all cap like. Hold up, I shoot my shot. Wait, hold up. I'm really about to run this go up. You know it's all net when it go up. Ain't got no other plans. You don't need to understand. Hey, we on overtime. You don't need